Let's go.
I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we get your popcorn ready. Okay, get your popcorn ready, ladies and gents. We have to start off opening the show with this particular picture because it was brought to my attention that Erica Kirk is going to be a guest tonight at the State of the Union address. I'm not joking. I kid you not. She is going to be a guest at the State of the Union. So it doesn't get any better than this, folks. It doesn't get any better than this. Welcome to Sab's podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. Welcome, guys. Shout out to everyone watching on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter. We have quite a bit to get into tonight. Yeah, I couldn't believe it myself. If you're just now joining, FYI, it has been announced that Erica Kirk is going to be a guest of Donald Trump tonight at the State of the Union address, which that starts at 9:00, which we will cover. We'll get into part of that as well. But it just doesn't get any more crazier. So I hope you do have popcorn ready tonight. We have quite a bit to get into, but welcome back, fam. Let's go ahead and give some shout outs to people in the chat, ladies and gents. Oh my God. Oh boy. I had to do it. Greetings. HH says free America from APAC. Yeah. Shout out to Kelly, says Sabby, hope you got my email on Song of the Saints Christian Zionist music tour in the US kicking off in March to convert the masses through song. If not, let me know where to send. Thank you. Let me check my email, Kelly. Let me check. I got a lot of emails right now, but let me check it and I can let you know next show. Greetings, XZ says from pro-intelligence propaganda, Israeli Jeffrey Epstein, Jewish Mossad, lobby files, Ambassador APAC Taurus. Shout out to Silver Surfer, says peace, love, Sabby. Greetings here. Cloudness says, all right, now salute Sabs and everyone in the building. Let's see what's popping from Sabby and her brilliant outtakes. B1 fam, Pisces season, gang. Yes, it's Pisces season. I'm a Pisces. If you're a Pisces in the chat, say Pisces. I'm curious to see if there's others. Greetings, Bill Bobby says, watch for Trump slipping like Biden tonight. No way he's making it through without Biden moments. Yeah, unless they gave him something. Shout out to one pissed off citizen who is laughing. Greetings, Carell said, Donald Dump gonna be talking about himself again. Greetings, Jill says, nasty. Shout out to Lorez says, hi, Sabby, Eric, Corey, and RBN fam. Ready for a rambling State of the Union. Greetings, all one same says, no time for State of the Union. I'm trying to lose my chains learning about alternative economies at free. Clara Mate, author, Escaping Capitalism would be a good guess. Thank you, Sabby. I'll have to look into her. Greetings, Stein says, keep it a bean. Shout out to Hannah G says, Sab. Greetings, Ting Ting says, hi, everyone. What's going on, Randy says, good evening, Sabby and my revolutionary family. The salute of our union is hopeless. Unfortunately, it seems. Greetings, the Capitol says, got my rice and my lemonade. Let's go. Or rice and lemonade. Lemonade works as well. Shout out to Mr. says, if Ayatollah once, Ayatollah twice, stay out of Iran. Greetings, Bev says, got the popcorn. Bev already knew. Some of you already knew it was up. One pissed off citizen said, I got the popcorn and the Heineken alive and ready. Not the Heineken. Not the Heineken. Oh my gosh. And shout out to Lauren said, shouldn't BB be delivering this? Everybody already has their jokes. Greetings, C. Shada says, A Sabby. Shout out to JB says, hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. And shout out to Crystal says, good evening, everyone. Let's go ahead and get things started, ladies and gents. We have so much to get into. Like I said, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Dun, dun, dun. Shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Thank you guys so much for your support. Really do appreciate you, fam. If you're interested in being a Sabby patron, I have 5 categories here. We have the ultimate, the Sabinators. Don't forget about those Sabsters. We think they're pretty cool too. There are also Sabbies, and they're not too shabby. That's what we're saying. I see some Pisces in the chat. What is up? Pisces season in the house. Pisces. We are sometimes sweet and sometimes sour. And of course, shout out to those who are members. All of their names are listed here. And you can also see their names scrolling across the bottom of the screen there on the ticker. Want to give a shout out to new Sabby patrons. We call them newbies. Let's give it up for Christina Teschner and Jason X Cross. What is up? Welcome and thank you, fam. Welcome back. All right. Yeah, I'll tell you something really quick about Pisces. The thing is that they say that Pisces can be, I guess the phrase is sometimey. We're kind of, it's like, we are very sweet people. We're also very giving people. Just don't piss us off. Like when you piss us off, it's like, like what happened? What happened? That's the saying about Pisces. The other saying about Pisces is that we're also dreamers. And we're imaginative, and I think those things are true as well. But yeah, we can moody. Yes, measured man. They say we're moody. We're moody. Yeah, it's true. All right, ladies and gents, tonight's theme is old dog, new tricks. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? The saying is that you can't. You're going to see some of that tonight. Let's go ahead and show you that thumbnail so you can see what we are discussing tonight. Yeah, we're covering other stories too, not just the State of the Union address, because like I said, not everybody wants to see the State of the Union address, right? So we have other things that we need to talk about as well. Tonight, we are discussing the Epstein babies bombshell. We're going to talk about this new story that came out about the babies that were produced during all of this trafficking. There are things that have been revealed now from a young woman's diary where it appears that she did indeed have a baby. She's not the only one. So apparently there was reproduction here that did happen. And my question is, what happened to those babies? We're also going to discuss, unless you're sleeping under a rock, Donald Trump is giving his State of the Union address tonight, and apparently it has been announced that Erica Kirk is going to be his guest. Oh my God, it's too much. We're also getting into this, guys. We have an update about the Iran war. As recent as of today, actually, it looks like they are going to try to move forward with this attack, but they did have something that kind of foiled their plans, which I think is hilarious. We got to talk about what happened on the military ships as well. We're also going to discuss, this is a big story here, Kamala Harris DNC report, the secret report, which has now been leaked that they did not want you to see, which reveals damning results, which we kept trying to say on this show and others, why she lost this election. You guys need to see this. And what does this mean for the Democratic Party going forward? And last but not least, everyone's talking about the cartel incident in Mexico. They're talking about the gentleman that you see there in the square, which was just killed during a military operation, and that there are U.S. tourists there who are pretty much stuck at this point in time. But people aren't really telling you where these weapons are coming from. So we're going to talk about Israel's cartel connection and also the U.S. cartel connection. So we're going to get into all of that tonight, ladies and gents. Again, the theme tonight is old dog, new tricks. If you haven't done so, do me a solid, could you? And smash that like button. And if you're new, don't forget to like, sub, and share, just like a Care Bear. So let's go ahead and get into it. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here we go. This first story. You know, Axios, for whatever reason, seems to capture a lot of leaks. And they captured one recently that has a lot of people talking about the DNC and what happened in 2024. There was a secret report that has been leaked that shows exactly what caused Kamala Harris the election. Let's go ahead and bring this in here, ladies and gents. Democrats working on secret report found that Gaza caused Kamala Harris votes. Cost her votes, excuse me. I think I said cost Kamala Harris votes. What did we tell you? What did we say time and time again when people kept saying that wasn't the reason? And by the way, the Democratic Party, the DNC, I should say, they did not want to release this. They didn't want this information to get out there because, like I said, this is one of those things that both parties are complicit with, taking this money from the pro-Israel lobbies. And they just really didn't want people to see this. So I want to show you what it says here. Top Democratic officials who worked on the party's still secret autopsy of 2024 election, see, still secret, concluded that Kamala Harris lost significant support because of the Biden administration's approach to the war in Gaza. Why does this matter? The DNC's research on what went wrong in 2024 has been under lock and key since party leaders decided last year to hide it from the public, a reflection of how explosively it could resonate with the party and beyond. Progressive and moderate Democrats are particularly divided over Israel, with the left more critical of the nation's actions against Palestinians in Gaza, and many questioning the U.S. unwavering support for Israel. So the Democratic Party has a big problem because, as we said before, a lot of these younger voters that came out to support Biden in 2020 did not come out to support Kamala in 2024 over this issue. And I started to notice that was going to be the case when I talked to people on the ground. I did a couple of interviews of people on the ground prior to the election, asking them who they were going to vote for. And you know what people told me? Most people told me they were going to stay home. A lot of the younger people told me that they couldn't vote for Kamala because of the Gaza situation. And I said, this is going to be the telling point, right? It goes on to say here, zoom in. During her brief campaign, Harris sought to strike a balance, showing strong support for Israel while calling for a ceasefire and expressing sympathy for Palestinians under attack in Gaza, as well as the hostages being held by Hamas. The DNC aides put together the report on Harris' loss to Donald Trump, had a closed door conversation with a pro-Palestinian group about the Israel-Gaza conflict. Activists from the IMEU Policy Project told the DNC that Biden-Harris administration support for Israel was a factor in the party's losses because it drained support from some young people and progressives. What did we tell you? Hamad Bindis, a spokesperson from the IMEU Policy Project, said that during the meeting, the DNC shared with us that their own data also found that policy was, in their words, a net negative in the 2024 election. Two other senior aides at the pro-Palestinian organization also said the DNC had drawn that conclusion. Axios independently verified that Democratic officials conducting the autopsy believed the issue harmed the party's standing with some voters. So, as you can see here, this was the nugget. This was the big one, right? And I think I'm going to see if I can pull up that chart from Gen X girl, because she had those numbers of the uncommitted voters. I'll check that in just a second. But this was a big issue for Kamala Harris, and not just younger people. Some of the older voters too said they couldn't do it, told me to my face they could not do it because of this issue alone, right? Now, that doesn't mean they went and voted for Trump. A lot of these people just stayed home. And while many of us were hoping that people would come out and vote third party, that was not the case at all. I want to remind you of what was said here when Kamala was in Michigan. This is important when we get to those uncommitted votes. This was the first time she said, I am speaking.
And he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking. I got yours. We're not going back. We're not going back. And we're not going back because we know what that would look like. And the intent.
So this was the first time. I want to remind everybody at this point, this was in Michigan, which is one of those swing states. Not a good place, obviously, to say that. Michigan also was the state that had the largest Arab American population in the United States. This was definitely, shouldn't have said it at all, but this was definitely not the place to say it. I think that really resonated with a lot of people at the time. You got to remember, we're talking about a genocide. Kamala was not nice towards the protesters. She went on to do it again. So didn't learn lesson. This was her in Pennsylvania, where she said the same thing.
As your president, I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face. Let me say something. We are 6 days out of an election. We are 6 days away from an election. And ours is about a fight for democracy and your right to be heard. Look, everybody has a right to be heard, but right now I am speaking as your.
So you guys can see, right? And what did all of us say back then when we were yelled at and had fingers pointed in our face? We said, definitely not the right thing that she should have said. You're yelling at the protesters. People are protesting over a genocide. Definitely not the right response. And then there were several interviews where she was questioned about this, and people were asking her, like, would you withhold the weapons? And she basically was just like, you guys know how it is. She said that she would not withhold weapons to Israel. So there were multiple times that she was asked about this. As you can see, we were talking about that. And let me bring up what Gen X girl. I always call her Gen Z girl. I don't know why I keep doing that. There she is. I want to show you what she said because she had, just give me just a second. I didn't have this queued up. Sorry, guys. She had the numbers. So I want you guys to see the difference of what happened. Unfortunately, Gen X girl does tweet a lot, but it wasn't too far ago. See if I can bring it in here. Give me just a second, guys. Someone you should be following on X, by the way, is Gen X girl. She has a lot of these graphs that she puts up. Did I find it? Found it. Let me put it up here. So just a reminder, shout out to her for showing these numbers because she tried to tell people back after the election, primary voters withheld vote for, the arms embargo, the polling, and the election. So this is Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and of course, North Carolina. The first column is the primary election uncommitted vote. The next column is general election, and the third column is electoral college votes. Pay close attention to this. When we look at Michigan, the uncommitted vote was over 101,000 people. The general election vote was 71,000 people. When we look at Wisconsin, uncommitted vote was over 47,000. The general election was 33,000. When we look at Pennsylvania, the uncommitted vote was 120,000. The general election was 134,000. North Carolina, uncommitted, 88,000. General election, 191,000. When you look at the total, you can see there were over 357,000 uncommitted votes when you add all these states together. And in the general election, it was over 431,000 votes. So this is important. These were swing states. And you can see that's what really hurt Kamala Harris. It was the uncommitted votes. Now, let's pretend something different happened. Let's imagine that Kamala said, yes, I will withhold weapons from Israel. Let's imagine that Kamala didn't say, I am speaking. Let's imagine that Kamala responded to the demands, which were a ceasefire and an arms embargo, and agreed to both of those. This easily can change. You can easily have those 101,000 uncommitted voters go right into the general election from Michigan. Same with Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. And it could have been a different game. But she wasn't willing to move that way. And I think this report is important because apparently Gavin Newsom saw that report, because listen to what he said now that he is asked about AIPAC.
We got to get these special interest groups, these disproportionately powerful interest groups and lobbyists out of politics so we can make real progress for the American people. I want to list off some special interest groups, and will you say yes or no if you'll take money from them?
All right, let's go.
What about big oil?
Oh, seriously? You're talking to the wrong guy. Like literally, big oil's number one enemy is me. So not a chance in hell.
Big tobacco.
By the way, they're the polluted heart of this climate crisis. Big oil and the lies and the mistruths they've been perpetuating the American people and the global world and the globe are disgraceful.
Big tobacco.
No damn way. Yeah.
What about AIPAC?
AIPAC never have, and will never will.
Were you promised to fight back against these disproportionately powerful special interest groups that are hurting the American people?
Look, I think you follow the money. Every time something goes wrong, follow the money. I support it. I continue to support it. We've struggled with it, but public financing, we do this. We're constantly doing what we call clean money campaign.
So notice the shift in Gavin Newsom's response compared to a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, when he was questioned about AIPAC, he said, "Why is everybody asking about AIPAC? What's AIPAC? What's that?" Now, Gavin Newsom has donated money to AIPAC. He hasn't taken money from AIPAC, but he has donated money to AIPAC. And I'm going to warn everybody about Gavin Newsom too, because I'm going to go ahead and let you know. The Democratic Party has caught on to AIPAC not being favorable. There are other pro-Israel lobby groups, whether it's J Street, whether it's Kufi, and AIPAC has already found sneaky ways now to give money to people's campaigns and not necessarily having it under their name. We talked about that a couple of months ago. So Gavin Newsom may be saying all this now when, like I said, just a couple weeks ago, he also said to Ben Shapiro that there wasn't a genocide. So don't forget those things when Gavin Newsom runs for president in 2028. So we do have to be careful, because I don't trust that Gavin Newsom is going to take the pro-Palestinian side. He doesn't even want to admit that there is a genocide, but he knows that AIPAC is unfavorable, and that's why he's saying what he's saying now. One thing you need to look at as well, we're seeing the writing on the wall. Shout out to Jose Vega. Jose Vega is running against Richie Torres. He is endorsed by AIPAC, which is their goal is to get the Zionists out of Congress. I want to show you something that Jose just discovered about how much AIPAC is controlling in Congress. Watch this.
Wait, this isn't adding up. All of these PACs are owned by AIPAC. Huh. The Congressional Black Caucus, the Hispanic Congressional Caucus, the Progressive Caucus, and the Equality Caucus have all endorsed Richie Torres. But the funny thing is that they are all owned by AIPAC. Those aren't my words or my assumption. AIPAC admitted that themselves in an Instagram post where they called themselves the top fundraisers of these caucuses. Now, why is
everybody see this? So AIPAC tells on itself. So all of these, minority or marginalized groups that are in Congress basically belong to AIPAC. We broke the story last year about the progressive, not the progressive, excuse me, the Progressive Caucus, but the Black Congressional Black Caucus. We broke the story last year about that, about how they've been taking money from AIPAC for years. And then people say, well, there's a Black caucus. Why aren't they putting the needs of Black people first? Why aren't they actually fighting for those things? Because they already sold their soul to Israel. That's really who they belong to. All of these caucuses that you think should be out there fighting for your needs and your group are actually bending the knee to Israel, and that's who they fight for first. Now, Jose is running against Richie Torres, and Richie Torres is endorsed by these caucus groups.
Is it that they all decided to come out with endorsements for Richie Torres this week? And why is it that Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi have decided to make their way to the Bronx for Richie Torres? Because Richie Torres represents a new generation of the old guard that refuses to die. In other words, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and these other Democratic ghouls that are old and decrepit are trying to instill within Richie Torres the values of corruption, which he's properly and proudly upholding. And that's why this election is so important. We have seen a massive shift towards people who are demanding. They want a representative that represents them, not one that's going to take corporate PAC money, whether it's AIPAC or Blackstone or crypto money or any kind of dirty money. And that's why tomorrow we're beginning our petitioning process. We are going to be knocking on thousands of doors in New York City, in the Bronx specifically, telling our neighbors that Richie Torres has got to go. And I can't do that without your support. Please
go to Jose Vega's website, right? Jose's been on the show multiple times. He is running against Richie Torres. So I thought he said something that was really important there, which is that the new guard of people that are there are getting support by people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to continue the policies of the old guard. So while they may be younger and it's a fresh new face, they are getting that support and getting propped up to continue the same type of pattern that Nancy and Chuck Schumer implemented there in the first place. And they have been in Congress for a long, long time. So be very wary of just because someone is a new, face and they're like, I'm progressive, because anybody saying that now, any candidate can say that they're progressive, but you got a lot of people out there that are progressive except for Palestine. So you have to be very careful, which I don't believe is an actual thing. How are you going to say you're progressive and you're not for the people having freedom and not being occupied? Like, how are you going to be progressive for that, right? Just like I told you, the same candidates like Richie Torres and Hakeem Jeffries that say all this stuff about we got to protect civil rights here in the United States, and I'm for civil rights here in the United States, but they're against civil rights for the Palestinian people. You can't have it both ways. You're either for it or you're against it. So we ask about, can you teach an old dog new tricks? When it comes to this particular situation, I don't think that you can. And what you'll see here is that Joy Reid even brings up this question to the DCCC. Listen to what this woman says.
And let me ask you this, the candidates who you are backing, can we get a pledge to not take AIPAC money and not take money from super PACs that may be funded by the big tech industry?
You would have to talk to those candidates about that. And so we don't have that kind of litmus test at the DCCC. What the DTRIP is looking for are candidates who are running serious campaigns, who are a good fit for their district. Candidates like Jonathan Nez, who's the former Navajo Nation president running against Eli Crane, a MAGA extremist in Arizona. President Nez is someone who has robust fundraising capacity and reflects the community he's seeking to serve in the Congress. And I'm not here to be a spokesperson or even to validate that this type of big money playing in our elections is a good thing. But what I am saying is that these candidates are running smart campaigns, and I think that they would be happy to talk with you about their candidacies, Joy.
So do you see how nervous she kind of sounded when she answered that question? The big red flag, she said, we don't have that litmus test. So that's a no. So what she's telling you is that the DCCC doesn't have a litmus test against taking corporate money, of course, but also pro-Israel lobby money. She's like, well, you need to talk to the candidates. Yeah, people should talk to the candidates, but at the same time, what do you mean you don't have that litmus test? That's why this is why I say the Democratic Party is not a truly oppositional party. You can't really sit up here and say, we care about marginalized people. We care about the people that have been oppressed in the United States if you don't care about the people being oppressed abroad. If you don't care about the people having that self-determination abroad. So you can't have it both ways. The reality is they're scared of Israel. They bow, to Israel, and they're afraid to say anything negatively about them. They've been taking this money for years. Both parties have. And this is the first time in my life where I've seen it could be a make or break for voters. So in this case, maybe you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but be careful, because some of the new dogs that they're trying to bring in, they're trying to get them to continue the old tricks. Very telling there, that report, that secret autopsy report. What did we tell you? Let's go to some of the comments here, ladies and gents. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Thank you, guys. Shout out to Measured Man, who gifted 5 Sabby memberships. Give Measured Man a big whoop, whoop. To all of you who received those. I don't know how it works, like how it decides who's going to get them, but thank you. Thank you, Roger. The only union I'm interested in is the win for nurses. Thank you, Roger. Tentative agreement reached. Hooray, NYC nurses. So it sounds like the nurses won that strike. They got their demands met, which is really good. That's what strikes are for. Thank you, Dustin. Kamala radicalized me. I voted for Jill Stein. That's interesting take. I voted for Jill too. Thank you, Clarissa. A lot of voters are becoming aware of AIPAC's Part 2. I agree. Thank you, Measured. In my opinion, she felt like it was going to be given to her. I am speaking. That was it. And then Obama coming out. Nah, miss me with that. FM said only 2 demands. Right. That's another thing. Like the pro-Palestinian activists and voters only had 2 demands. They were only asking you to do 2 things, not 5, not 10. Thank you, Roger. What they won't tell you is Friedman voted the couch. Look at Dem slipping numbers: 2008, 98% turnout for Dem; 2012, 93%; 2016, 88%; 2020, 87%; and 2024, 73%. Yeah, that's been a thing. It's been steadily going down. And Mouse said, Sabby, the queen of cute tops. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Mouse. That's so cute. I like color. Does everybody else like color? I like colorful tops. That's my thing. Okay, we're going to go on to the next story here. I want to make sure we make it on time for the State of the Union address. So if you haven't done so, smash that like button for me. Thank you. And we're going to move on to the next story. Okay, so Donald Trump said that first he said that he would strike Iran as soon as Saturday. That was just this past weekend. Then later on, after Saturday, he said that the U.S. could strike Iran as soon as Monday or Tuesday. It is now Tuesday. So obviously that did not happen. And now it is being reported that top generals have spoken to Donald Trump and told him not to attack Iran, that this would be a grave mistake. And also, I think with a little bit of help from divine intervention, it appears that the military ships are having a problem of their own, which is quite laughable, and we'll show you as well. But let's go ahead and get into this part here. Donald Trump is pushing back, saying they didn't tell me not to attack, but that is apparently what the generals are saying. Listen to this.
Welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. President Donald Trump here on the eve of the State of the Union, also focusing on foreign affairs as President Trump is mulling his options with Iran, as an American military buildup over the past month means that the U.S. now has an expansive naval and air presence across the Middle East. The two sides still appear far apart in terms of diplomacy, but new reporting right now from Axios, as you can see, Ravid, saying the Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Dan Kane, told the President Trump and top officials that the military campaign against Iran could carry significant risk, in particular, the possibility of entanglement in a prolonged conflict. Obviously concerned about that.
So we'll pause here. So as you can see, right? So the biggest concern that the top generals have is that they said that this is not something that the U.S. would be able to sustain. And then also, like, a prolonged conflict with Iran would be absolutely disastrous. So now you're starting to hear other generals speak out against the U.S. attacking Iran. So now Donald Trump is pushing back on this, and he's like, no, nobody said this. He wants to still attack them anyway. But anytime you have the top generals saying this is going to be a bad idea, you should probably listen to them. Let's go on more here.
Trump responding to this on social media is talking about these numerous stories, saying General Kane, like all of us, would not like to see a war, but if a decision is made on going against Iran at a military level, it is an opinion that will be something easily won. He knows Iran well in that he is in charge of Midnight Hammer, the attack on the Iranian nuclear development. So we're going to continue to follow this here on Live Now from Fox. Let's bring into the conversation co-director of the Future Security Initiative, Daniel Rothenberg. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And tensions continue to rise there in the Middle East, and they're saying diplomacy comes first, but is a strike, is expansion, is escalation obviously inevitable at this point?
Well, thanks so much for having me. You know, escalation is always the great fear when we have a big military buildup like this. We don't know where things are going. There's no way to be sure, but let's hope that what we don't see is some sort of major move that it goes out of control. That's certainly possible. I would say.
I just want to add this too. The host, not this guy, but the host, he needs to fix his audio. His voice always sounds kind of muffled, and you can tell the difference between when this guy is talking and when the host is talking.
On the positive side, we've heard from Donald Trump a disinterest, not a fear of getting involved in endless wars. But maybe the other big lesson from the post-9/11 wars that isn't clear is explaining to the American public what is the purpose of this military buildup. What's the purpose of any possible strike?
Yeah. What's the purpose of any of these things, right? Let's fast forward a little bit here because you know how YouTube can get with those types of things. I do want to show you the map here, right here. These are the naval assets in the Middle East. So you guys can see, yeah, obviously they're surrounding Iran at this point. I mean, this is wild. Look at this. The U.S. Bulkley, the Roosevelt, the Delbert D. Black, the McFall, the Mitcher, the Michael Murphy, like the USS Abraham. Look at all. I could read them all, and here's the Strait of Hormuz, and here's Iran. You see all these ships here, right here in the Middle East? This is crazy.
Obviously, there is not a deal in place. Two sides still far apart in that nuclear development. What are exactly the options for President Trump? You mentioned potentially a singular strike as there's risk of prolonged entanglement. What are the options on the table for the president right now?
Well, I suppose all of the options are available. It's a huge military buildup. We don't know where it's going. We could look at some previous actions in the region. There was the attack on the Iranian nuclear installations. That was a one-off attack. It had preliminary efforts to dismantle the ability of Iran to respond to attack, right? But think of not much attention is put on the Trump policy against the Houthis. That cost almost $1 billion from March.
Yeah, and we can't show everything here, but you guys get the gist of it, right? So you see what's happening. Now, I'll be honest with you. The reality is, if there was no profit in war, we probably wouldn't have any wars. But there's a lot of money to be made here for weapon manufacturers, the military industrial complex. They make a lot of money when the United States goes to war, or any country goes to war, and the West needs weapons supplied. And that's pretty much what this is really about. There's a lot of money to be made there. But if it wasn't a profitable thing, we would be closer and closer towards peace. And I mean like world peace, real peace, not the peace that Trump talks about where they're still attacking people, because that's not peace, right? Now, I asked this question, can you teach an old dog new tricks? Apparently, no. Because people tried that with Donald Trump when he was running for president, and they said, promise us you'll put a stop to the wars. And what did Donald Trump say? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to end it. I'm going to end the war with Russia and Ukraine on day one. Oh, I know it's a travesty what's happening there between Israel and Gaza. We're going to stop it. We're going to stop. That's all going to stop. Then he goes on and he escalates things with Venezuela. They're bombing ships in the Caribbean still, by the way. It's kind of gone under the radar with all the tension on the Epstein files. But they're still bombing ships in the Caribbean. They kidnapped Maduro because of drug issues, but then they pardoned Juan Hernandez, who was a known drug trafficker. It's all over the place. Now they want to go fight Iran. They gave different reasons for this. First, it was the protests, and then we told you those protests were infiltrated and there were Mossad agents there to escalate. And then they say, well, it's because they're building a nuclear weapon, which I've heard my whole entire life. The point is, they've gotten to the point where they don't even really need a reason. They just want them gone. They want new regime there. And then they're possibly talking about attacking Cuba. So apparently, no, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but sometimes there is a thing called divine intervention. And that's apparently what happened here, because a U.S. strike on Iran faces a toilet crisis aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford, with too few working bathrooms for 4,600 sailors, 45-minute lines, and a system that cannot be fixed at sea. Look at God. Here we go.
The planned US attack on Iran has a hitch. Most of the bomb targeting crew are busy queuing for toilets on the lead vessel, the USS Gerald R. Ford. This is not a joke. A set of emails was obtained by NPR, a US public broadcasting group, revealing that toilet wars have broken out on board the most expensive ship the US Navy ever built. And the Wall Street Journal followed up to confirm the tale today. TLDR summary: there are too few functioning toilets for 4,600 sailors, and the problem is worsening daily. Problem 1, design planners screwed up by including too few toilets for 4,000 plus sailors, leading to 45-minute queues on a daily basis. Problem 2, engineers screwed up by installing a fragile vacuum system in which a single valve breakdown on one toilet can stop all the toilets in an entire department functioning.
Looks like they're in deep shit.
Making the queues even longer. Problem 3, some of the temporary repair operations, such as using an acid flush to clear out calcium buildups, can only be done while the ship is docked. No prospect of that. But with so many toilets out of order, too much pressure is put on the ones still working, so the problem will just spread. And the issues have already been mounting for more than a year. A March 18th, 2025 email from the engineering department sent out to all chiefs on the ship said there were 205 toilet breakdowns in 4 days, the NPR reported. Now, the ship is at the heart of US overseas attack operations, working for months in waters near Venezuela to support the abduction of the country's president and the seizing of ships carrying oil to customers around the world.
So do you see the problem? Like, they're like, we have a sanitation problem. We have toilets that will not flush. We are seeing poop come out of the toilets. Pardon me, if you have a sensitive tummy. We're seeing feces come out of the toilet back onto the ship because we just can't get these things to flush. So they're having plumbing issues on the ship. And it's kind of hard to continue this type of a mission when you just got, I don't know, shit all around you on the floor. They're literally knee deep in shit.
And the ship is now heading the planned regime change operation in Iran. Israel wants a pro-Netanyahu leader installed, as the US has done in many other countries. But how can they attack Iran while staff are queuing for the loo?
I love the way he said it. He said the loo.
One result of all this is a war of words between sailors and onboard sewage staff called hull technicians, or HTs. One sewage engineering chief complained that sailors put all sorts of problematic material down the toilets. Even T-shirts were found clogging the pipes. Our sewage system is being mistreated and destroyed by sailors on a daily basis. My HTs are currently working 19 hours a day right now, trying to keep up with the demand. The US taxpayer spent $13 billion on this ship.
So that's the really important part. Aside from the poop, 13 million from US taxpayers. And I think, here's the thing. I think it was like a couple months ago, there were a couple of people that were saying that there should be like a tax strike or a tax boycott or whatever, which I would be all in favor for, because I don't remember saying that I wanted to pay for this. So like our tax dollars are going to support something that a lot of people just don't support. Like the whole pro-war movement is not what it used to be. Like more people have become anti-war, right? But that part, that's tax dollars.
On the plus side, it'd be delightful if the carrier's desperate lack of functioning toilets caused the attack on Iran to be cancelled or postponed.
All because of poo. And then the other thing, I'll show you another one here. I'm sorry. I just think it's hilarious because karma is a I shared it on Twitter and I said, oh shit. It's so that is karma, ladies and gentlemen. We don't usually do it this early, but we're going to have to drop the beat. We're dropping the beats. Hey, dance with me. Dance with me. Drop the beat. In the street. Woo! That is what we call divine intervention. Because who would have predicted, of all things, that would have happened? It's like someone's trying to tell you, this is not a good idea. Leave this alone. That's what it seems like, right? Now, we talked about nuclear weapons. One of the things that was leaked back in 2016, this was reported. Shout out to a left-wing account says, remember, both parties have always known Israel, not Iran, is the rogue state with a secret nuclear arsenal. And I don't know why this is so big over here now. Then maybe because I need to do like this. There we go. See this? In leaked emails, Colin Powell says Israel has 200 nukes. That was reported September 2016. You see that? Now, many of you may be wondering, so what is going to happen now? So obviously the ships and the toilet situation is obviously putting a wrench into things. But as of Tuesday afternoon, Donald Trump apparently is still trying to make this strike on Iran happen. And I think we're starting to see that because of this response here from Chuck Schumer coming out of that meeting. Shout out to Hotspot for this here. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, after the classified Gang of 8 briefing on Iran. Look at what he says here.
This is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people. This is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people. This is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people.
So he is saying that it's serious. And so this goes to show you that they're still trying to make this happen. They still want this strike on Iran to happen. But I thought it was interesting that he said that the Trump administration has to make their case to the American people, because they all know the majority of Americans are against a war with Iran. So we will have to stay tuned, because I think he still wants to make a strike happen. This is absolutely insane. Can you teach an old dog new tricks when it comes to war? Apparently not. Apparently not, especially if they're bought off. But shout out to Divine Intervention. Let's go to some of the comments here. Eric, we can go to part 2. Thank you. All right, all right. Julio said the ship is sinking with poo. Dead Inside said, y'all are gonna hate fighting Iran. I'm gonna be here at home. Thank you, Devotion Orange. I love this show. Thank you. Cosmo says, not Poo Cruise part 2. Thank you, Courtney. Not look at God. Thank you, Jabram. These people, I don't care what they proclaim to believe. They do not believe in God. It is so obvious. Thank you, With Our Eyes Rise. Consciousness, Peace, Uhuru, Sabs. There are $100,000 worth of grants for mutual aid at humanist.org/Monte, open until March 13th. Rise. Thank you for letting people know about that. So everyone, you see this? This is the Uhuru movement. They're letting people know that they have grants open for mutual aid. So follow them online, the Uhuru movement. Thank you for letting me know about that. Thank you, Roger. Solidarity with Iran and send Navy a high fiber diet. Thank you, Measured Man. You know what is funny? Remember Trump flying over and spraying shit over No Kings protesters? Look at God. Won't he do it? Thank you, Gamble. Iran been about to have something next week since 1984. I know. Thank you, RM Gas. Nothing new. Gerald was always full of it. And thank you, Courtney. That shit. LOL. Thank you, Roger. That's why Popeye's dad was called Poop Deck Pappy. Oh my gosh. And thank you, Original Man. You're doing a great job, Sabby. Love your content. Keep going. Thank you. And thank you, Marvin. Thanks, Sabby, for dropping the low. You guys, my audience, you guys are so funny, man. You guys are funny. Let's get the Rumble rant. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? Thank you for the Rumble rant, Mark. Bree had on Chris Hedges. They were talking about this being our last chance to form a single resistance movement. We are all Palestinians, and the international version of the IDF is closing in since 2011. Yeah, I saw the interview with Chris. That was really good. Really, really good. The thing I like about Chris Hedges is he always gets into like organizing. Like, so when you ask that question, what can we do? He's really good with that. Okay, let's keep it moving and grooving. All right, so crazy shit went down in I'm gonna stop with the shit now. Crazy things went down in Mexico, where apparently a military operation killed a member or leader of the cartel. And the problem that has been exacerbated here is that there are American tourists that are now stuck. Apparently, there was no warning. There was no, you guys need to evacuate now before this happens or whatever. So there are American tourists that are trapped in Mexico and told not to leave. Now, a lot of people are talking about the story, but I think it's really important also to get into who actually gives these weapons to the cartel. I'll give you a hint. It may not be who you think it is. So let's get into all of this, folks. Again, it was violence, crazy chaos in Mexico after a cartel boss was killed. Check this out.
This morning, millions on edge across Mexico after a military operation killed one of the country's most notorious cartel bosses. Criminal groups responding with mass vandalism and violence. The State Department urging U.S. citizens across several Mexican states to continue sheltering in place this morning from Tijuana to Puerto Vallarta. Officials say Sunday's military raid killed more than 30 cartel members, including the head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho. Video verified by ABC News showing parts of that operation, followed by a barrage of gunfire and blasts.
We have to skip that part here. There we go.
Say the violence erupted Sunday morning without warning.
Their goal was clearly to block all main roads in Puerto Vallarta, and clearly it wasn't to kill people because they easily could have killed all of us.
Yep.
So that guy is an American tourist.
Tony Pizer says he was vacationing with his husband and friends in Puerto Vallarta when their car was attacked by an armed man.
And he got to the car, pointed at my head, and through the window said, "Get out of the car." And all of us exited the vehicle. And at that point, he got in the car and drove it just a few yards into the intersection, and then threw an incendiary device in it, which exploded, and the car was quickly engulfed in flames.
Now, do you see how the U.S. government doesn't stop and think about the safety of the American people before they start these types of operations? Yes, this operation was led by, of course, the U.S. government. They didn't stop and think about that. They also didn't stop and think about the fact that there are plenty of Americans that are retired that have moved to Mexico, right? In fact, if you look on YouTube, you can see a number of people that are like the expats that are living in Mexico, and they do these vlogs about their experience leaving the US and moving to Mexico because it's, a lot cheaper to live there if you're coming from the US. They didn't stop and think about these things, but just like they don't stop and think about civilians that may be harmed or killed in other countries when they go in and bomb people there. That's something I want you to make that connection to geopolitics, to domestic policy, like the way they treat people abroad, and compare that to how they treat us as well. Let's go on a little bit more here.
Now, the White House has confirmed the U.S. provided intelligence to Mexican officials, but now sources tell ABC News the CIA was instrumental in removing El Mencho, but no American troops were on the ground for the operation.
So here we go with the CIA again. Let's go ahead and go to the next one here, because they implement these operations and then they don't think about the fact like, okay, there's people who may be affected, may be impacted. And then you just start total chaos in places. They are known for going into other countries, starting operations, and it just basically sparks all of this chaos. And then they're like, well, our job is done. You guys figure it out. So from what I understand, what I was reading earlier today, there are still tourists trapped there. They're told to shelter in place, not to leave. So let's put this one up here. Here's another.
This morning, American tourists desperate to leave Mexico, following stunning scenes of violence at a number of popular resort areas, including charred buildings and cars and storefronts riddled with bullets. The chaos blamed on drug cartel members furious about the killing of their boss over the weekend by Mexican special forces. Mexican authorities say they found the drug kingpin Nemesio Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, by tracking his romantic partner. American Tony Pizer and his partner experiencing the terror firsthand saying they were forced out of their rental vehicle at gunpoint.
All of a sudden, a young man ran at us with a gun, and my friend in the backseat said, "He's got a gun, he's got a gun."
Their SUV later set on fire.
He threw a incendiary device in the vehicle, and our car exploded.
The couple now reunited after being separated in the scramble. Many other American tourists are still unable to get out of Mexico. Since all of this unfolded, what's the scene on the ground like right now?
You would think it was peaceful, but it's kind of eerie.
Other Americans describing the war-like violence that unfolded over the weekend, with buildings engulfed in flames and choppers flying overhead.
On both sides of the helicopter, there are men with very large guns. So we just hoped that they were the good guys and not the bad guys.
Mexico's president urging calm, saying the government is in control. Telemundo anchor Julio Vaquero describing the scene on the ground in Guadalajara.
Businesses that have been vandalized, broken glasses, bullets, cars that have been burnt across the streets. Today, the work's to recover, the cleaning up to go back to normal.
Operations at Guadalajara Airport also coming back, and Americans like Yoni Pizer are hoping to get back home.
I have to imagine this is still a moment in time that you won't soon forget.
That would be an accurate statement.
So one of the things that I want to add here as well, when we talk about destabilization, this is a good point that Money Mindset brings up. This is an old CIA tactic, destabilization. Yeah, because it causes chaos, right? And that's another thing that the CIA has been known to do, right? So we got to remember that here. The president of Mexico, Claudia, said that they have this under control. Again, I point to the hypocrisy because the U.S. government says, okay, we're going to go take down a leader of the cartel, this cartel in Mexico, but you just gave Juan Hernandez a pardon. I mean, basically what a lot of this comes down to is these countries that are willing to work with the West in the way that the West wants them to, and the countries that are not willing to do that. Claudia Sheinbaum has been very firm about where she stands with this presidential administration and what she is not going to do. She's not willing to bend the knee to this administration. These are typically the countries that they tend to target. That's what I want people to understand. The countries that are willing to work with the West in the way that the West wants, even if they have this type of activity happening in their country, they're more willing to leave them alone. They usually go after the ones that are not willing to work with them the way that they want. These are the things that people have to keep into consideration, right? It was a similar situation with Venezuela. They're not really, Maduro wasn't willing to do what the West wanted to do. So they're like, we're going to go after him. Claudia Sheinbaum, Donald Trump has been coming after her for quite some time. She isn't willing to do what Donald Trump wants her to do. So they're going to go into that country and target those people. There are criminal organizations all over the entire world. One of the big ones that we've been talking about multiple times on the show recently is the whole Epstein organized crime organization. All over the world. You don't see them trying to take those people down. So that lets you know what it's really all about. We'll continue on here, and then I'm going to show you where they get these weapons from.
Yeah, and Mexican authorities say they're also still in the process of cleaning up those blocked roadways, removing burned up cars that were left behind. Now, as for air travel, according to the State Department, all other airports in Mexico are open, most operating normally. Guys.
So yeah, obviously a scary time if you're there and you're a tourist, but also if you're an expat who lives there and you're like, what the hell is going on? I left the U.S. and these things are happening. I want you to hear what the Mexico Defense Secretary said about where a lot of these weapons come from. I'm going to read this to you because he's speaking in Spanish. So listen here.
Ya se ha mencionado aquí hablando de la estrategia general.
Speaking of the strategy general, since the beginning of the administration, 23,000 weapons have been seized.
Se han asegurado en lo que va de la administración 23,000 armas. De esas 23,000 armas.
Of those 23,000 weapons, 80% are U.S. origin.
Armas, el 80% son de origen norteamericano. Entonces, en este caso, más o menos es la.
So in this case, the proportion is roughly the same. I'm going to say it again. Of those weapons, 80% are U.S. origin because the U.S. government has been known to supply weapons to the cartel in Mexico. But we're not the only ones. I'm going to tell you who else has been doing this. So do you guys see the issue? The U.S. or other Western countries, they'll come in and they'll supply weapons to other groups, other organized crime organizations in these countries. These groups will then destabilize the countries, and then the U.S. will be like, use that as an excuse to go in and invade those countries. You see this effect? This is one of the things that people don't sit back and ask. People complain about the cartel and they say the cartel's bad, yada, yada. Yeah, but they don't sit back and ask, where do the weapons come from? They're not making the weapons. They come from us. It was reported also in the Rolling Stone. Shout out to Power to the People. Important context to what is happening in Mexico. The CIA arms Mexican cartels. Now, some of you, I'll show you this in a second. Some of you might be familiar with things like this happening right here in the United States. I'll give you an example in just a second. How the U.S. arms the Mexican cartels. This was reported by the Rolling Stone like a while back. So we've been arming the cartels, not you and me personally, but the CIA, the intel agencies here have been arming the cartels in Mexico at the same time complaining about the cartels and saying that they need to take out the cartels. Tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't, does it? No. Now I want to tell you another example. That was also done right here in the United States. The CIA put drugs into urban Black communities. And then, of course, the police state goes in to arrest people in those communities. Now, there was a whistleblower who reported this information, and that was Gary Webb. And next thing we knew, Gary was gone. They say Gary did it himself. I think we know better. They've been doing this. They come in and they create chaos because with chaos, there is destabilization. That's one of the easiest ways to destabilize a community, a neighborhood, or a country. A lot of times the chaos is caused from the outside. Now, they won't teach you this in the history books. You're not going to find this in your history textbook in school. Whether it's high school, they're not going to teach you this. They're not going to tell you how the CIA came in and they infiltrated Black communities and they dropped drugs off there so that they could actually aid to the war on drugs. They're not going to tell you how the CIA drops off weapons to the cartel in Mexico so that they could create chaos and destabilization there. And you say, well, why would they do that to Mexico? Because there's money to be made. If there wasn't money to be made for these weapon transfers, it would not happen. But it's not just the CIA. We are not alone. Check this out. The Guardian reported this a while back. This was reported in 2020. Many of the weapons used in the murders of 119 journalists that were imported and Mexico's laws and culture making tracing them impossible. But when we go down here, I want to show you where they're getting a lot of these weapons from. Here we go. An international coalition of journalists coordinated by the nonprofit Forbidden Stories examined the flow of weapons into Mexico in an effort to understand where the guns are coming from. This is what they found. Put this here, the main findings. Well, let me highlight it. Yes. Weapons manufactured in Europe and Israel sold legally to the Mexican army, as well as guns trafficked illegally across the U.S. border, are probably being used to commit human rights violations and gangland executions, according to declassified military documents obtained by the non-governmental organization Stop U.S. Arms to Mexico. Weapons manufactured in Europe and ding, 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 Israel. Israel also sells weapons to the cartels in Mexico. And the U.S. knows this too. The U.S. government, they know this. This is why I say it's good to ask, how did we get here, right? Like, this is the problem. You say, okay, well, cartels are creating a problem in Mexico. Okay, how did that happen? How did they get there? Where did the weapons come from? How did they come into power? It's always important to go all the way back and to see, how did we get here? So that's one of the things that they found. It goes on to say here, trade is booming. European armed companies are shipping hundreds of millions of dollars worth of guns, parts, and ammunition to Mexican states with dire human rights records. Multinational armed companies could be violating European export laws, as only a fraction of end users are being reported. A combination of weak international regulations and a culture of impunity in Mexico makes tracing firearms used to commit crimes back to their origins virtually impossible. It also goes on to talk about this was a booming business. Boom, boom. When we get to this part here, which I think is important, shout out to the Middle East Monitor here. How Israel armed the drug cartels, part 2. Actually have to skip this part because I can't show actual drugs on here, and we'll bring it back in. Check this out. The Medellin cartel's military leader was Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha, who set up self-defense squadrons to protect his ranchers from left-wing guerrillas like the FARC, which had been taxing their cocaine exports. Rodriguez and his affiliated far-right death squads were responsible for some of the country's worst campaigns of political terror, targeting judges, politicians, and civilians alike for assassination. According to the Colombian secret police, the Cockburns wrote in their book Dangerous Liaisons, Colonel Klein had not only taught Rodriguez gotcha men how to make bombs, including one that exploded on board a commuter flight, he had also trained killers of Luis Carlos Galán, a presidential candidate in 1989, who was often compared to JFK and who almost certainly would have moved into the presidential palace. General Maza also accused Klein of importing quantities of Israeli arms for the Medellin cartel. Israeli arms going all the way back to 1989. But Israel will complain about the cartels. These weapons were Israeli army surplus, including mortars, mines, and explosives, infrared equipment, machine guns, and medical supplies. The shipments also included 500 assault rifles and 200,000 rounds of ammunition. This is not the type of stuff, guys, that they just come up with on their own. It was given to them. In 1989, after U.S. and Colombian authorities had finally turned decisively against Escobar and his associates, they eventually cracked down on the cartel. Rodriguez, along with his son and bodyguards, died in a last stand shootout. When they lined up the bodies, the authorities found a cache of 178 Israeli Galil assault rifles. So this is where the weapons come from: the United States and Israel. And they don't want to teach you this. When we talk about the cartels in Mexico, without the weapons, do they have this power? So you have two governments that are giving them the weapons to have the power in Mexico, to have chaos, to control the people. And then those same two governments complain about the cartels that they actually supplied. That's the part that's not mentioned. This has been going on for years. And nobody wants to say it. Well, I say nobody. None of the politicians want to say it. A lot of your Congress members know this too. This isn't just a me thing, and they don't want to say it. So I think that, even when it comes to something like Mexico, like, can you teach an old dog like new tricks when it comes to the cartel? I mean, the reality is the CIA has been known to wreak havoc across the world. Sometimes they've been known to go into places where there is no unrest at all, and they go in and they create unrest. And part of the big problem that honestly, like, people run into is a lot of people don't know about it because they're not taught about it. You got to dig for this type of information. That's why I said it's not in your history textbooks, because they want you to believe the CIA is a good organization. They want you to believe the FBI is a good organization. The same FBI that doesn't even want to punish the people that are all in the Epstein files, where there are clear crimes that are outlined there. Where they protect the powerful, they protect the rich. I was watching this show called Secession. I don't know if everybody's seen that show. It's really good. People have been telling me to watch it for years, and I just started watching it, and it's so good. What that show shows you, it's about a family, billionaire family. The dad's an asshole, but it's funny as hell. That show shows you how money and corruption work, not just in politics, but also organized crime, covering up crime. It shows you how, when you have that type of capital, the things that you can get away with, how you can control the media. It shows you how you can control members of Congress, how you can make murder go away, all because you have money. It's a really good show. You guys should check it out. So if you got money, you can get away with a lot of things. But the cartel situation that many people complain about, including Marco Rubio, the politicians, the media, has been funded by the CIA and Israel. Let's go to some of the comments here, ladies and gents. Thank you. Thank you, Sticky. The way Trump ended the State of the Union was mad, funny, and lazy. That'll be starting around 9. Get into that. Thank you, With Our Eyes Rise. This is not the Huru move. I keep thinking it is. I don't know why, but thank you for letting me know. This is not the Huru movement. You'll have to put the web address or put the website to go to in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, Roger. Oh, so that is what John Leguizamo has been up to. Thank you, Cool Cat. Gary Webb taught us what the U.S. is willing to do. Yes. And if you're not familiar with Gary Webb, Google his name and do some reading tonight, honey, or tomorrow. Yep. Thank you, Roger. Hope unread my non-paid chat YouTube wouldn't let me send. I don't know what that means. Thank you for this one. It was about Arkansas Governor Clinton and his involvement in bringing drugs into Arkansas. Oh, interesting. I didn't know about that. It's probably already passed now. I don't know where that was. Let's get that Rumble rant. Eric, thank you. Thank you, Mark Pugsley. Not in my class, Sab. I taught imperialism, Iran, Guatemala, Congo, Chile, and the resource involved in each case. That's base, Mark. You're awesome. Thank you for the super chat, Miss Ritchie. Remember when Tucker claimed Ukraine was selling military-grade weapons to cartels? It's true. Ukraine International Legion training, arming cartels. Yeah, it's just the things they don't want you to know. The things they don't want you to know. Okay, ladies and gents, we have one more story before I think we dip into that State of the Union, which this is going to take some time because we got some things to dig into. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Make sure I got the right. Yeah, Eric, do you see the State of the Union address? Or okay, I'll let you deal with that. Eric knows what's going on. Okay, ladies and gents, if you haven't had a chance to do so, smash the like button. Thank you. And let's keep it moving and grooving. We're going to get into this Epstein story here that is probably one of the craziest ones in the Epstein files. With all of the trafficking that happened, whether on Epstein Island, his townhouse in Manhattan, Palm Springs, Palm Beach, or Zorro Ranch, one has to ask, did any of those girls get pregnant? And I think we now have the answer to that question. We've seen different emails about STDs, etc. But now we are starting to take a deep look into what appears to be an alleged victim's diary and talks about multiple accounts of there possibly being a baby. And honestly, it appears that there may have been multiple babies that were born during all of this trafficking. And the question that we have to ask is, what happened to those babies? Let's go ahead and get into this clip here. A lot of people are finding out about this now. I just found out about this. Survivors' diaries revealed in the Epstein files. Listen to this.
One chilling document you found gives us a window. What did you see?
Well, Holly, it was buried deep into these files, millions of files. We found the diary of a young girl. Now, inside of these files, we can see what is happening to her in real time. And I want to warn our viewers, what they are going to see in terms of the content here is incredibly disturbing.
I can't go to school like this. Those are words written by a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, pouring her heart onto the pages of her diary. The girl fills pages with trauma and poems, but also high school graduation cards, a stark contrast of a childhood interrupted by violence.
So again, clearly someone who was a child. I can't go to school like this. You hear that, Megyn Kelly?
I think the diary was one of the most striking pieces of evidence that I've come across in the probably tens of thousands of pages of the Epstein files that I've reviewed thus far. I found it incredibly disturbing.
Eliza Orlins, a career public defender who has been poring over millions of Epstein files, says this diary stands out. The dozens of diary pages made public focus on the repeated abuse the girl was enduring, including multiple pregnancies. In real time, she gives excruciating details of going through childbirth, with Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly in the room, and of her baby, born alive, being taken away.
Pause. This part is important. So according to this diary, this girl alleges that she gave birth to multiple babies. Now, what's significant about this is going back to Virginia Giuffre's book. One of the things that Virginia Giuffre said was that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein wanted her to have a baby for them. She was against it. According to Virginia Giuffre, that did not happen. The reason why Virginia Giuffre was against that is because she was afraid that that child would be, we'll say, roomed and brought into trafficking. Now, we don't know what happened to these babies. We don't know if they were put into the trafficking network. We don't know what happened to them. And the question people need to ask, these babies that were taken away, these babies that were sent wherever, where are these babies? So Virginia spoke out about this early on and said that they wanted her to have a baby for them. Crazy, man.
She asks herself, why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? Maxwell, she explains, said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes. I can't bring myself to write what happened, the girl writes in code in a separate entry. I'm beyond broken. I only got 10 to 15 minutes to hold and feed her before they took her. She is mine. I want her back. Distraught. She glued an image of a sonogram to the same undated page and refers to multiple pregnancies.
So that's kidnapping. So we're just adding up the charges, ladies and gentlemen. Ghislaine Maxwell, which I'm not even sure that's her, in prison right now. I'll get to that in just a second. Ghislaine Maxwell wasn't charged with nearly enough of what she should have been charged with. Neither was Jeffrey Epstein. Now we're adding kidnapping to the list. This is obviously someone who did not want their child taken away, and Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein took the baby. This also brings up another question. Who was the father? Where are these babies? Absolutely insane.
Tomorrow is the halfway ultrasound for Jeffrey. This one stuck. After they took the first baby who survived in the early miscarriage, I think it was called, I no longer feel like a person, but a vessel. Will they take this one too? In the style of teenage girls who use magazine clippings to make posters for their bedroom, this girl is gluing words to describe her abuse.
So it sounds like they used this girl as a baby factory. They used her to produce babies. It's just like, and I sit back and I look at someone like Ghislaine Maxwell and I'm like, as a woman, how can you do this to another female? What the hell is wrong with you? It's sick. But that's kidnapping, guys. And she should have been charged with that.
She was basically a sex slave. She was put through forced birth. She was put through so much trauma and horror.
The pages filled with prayers begging to be released from this torture and hell. To date, there are no known related investigations or charges.
We all should be screaming and yelling and talking about why there weren't investigations, why there weren't certain searches, why prosecutions weren't brought, why sweetheart deals were given.
And Holly, we do not know what happened to the baby or who the father technically is.
See, this is what, we don't know if those babies were trafficked. We don't know if they were some type of rituals were used with those babies. We don't know what happened to those babies. Now, we have a little bit more detail here. I want to bring this up as well, because this was in the Times too. Jeffrey Epstein had a secret child who was taken from the mother at birth. Jeffrey Epstein may have had a number of secret children. Buried in 3 million documents are references to Epstein having fathered children, including one by a teenager who alleges her daughter was taken from her minutes after birth. So I wonder if this was all a part of that eugenics conversations that we saw throughout the Epstein files, where Epstein was encouraged by others via email that he needed to spread his seed or whatever. So I wonder if that's what this was about. But you essentially had a young girl at that time, now a woman, if she's still alive, if she's still out there, who has children somewhere and she has no idea where they are. And then you got to think about something else. What does that mean for medical history? They don't know who their mom is. How do they know what their medical history is? It goes on here and it says that it talks about the diary entry here. Epstein victim claims to have given birth to a baby girl in about 2002 when she would have been 16 or 17 years old. And so you can see these are the copy of some of the pages from the diary. She has a little poem here that says, your clear eye is called Child. Your clear eye is the one absolutely beautiful thing. I want to fill it with color and ducks, the zoo of the new, whose name you mediate. April snowdrop, Indian pipe, little, stalk without wrinkle, pull in with images, should be grand and classical. Not this troublous, wringing of hands this dark, ceiling without a star. My heart belonged to her. You can see some of the writing that she had here. The child appears to have been taken away 10 minutes after the birth. She was born. I heard her cries, the victim wrote. I saw this tiny head and body in between the doctor's hands. Jelaine said she was beautiful. Where is she? The doctor's hands. Who was the doctor? Who assisted with the birth of these babies? The woman wrote, I do not want to be tied to Jeffrey for the rest of my life. Playing the piano well is not a good reason to think someone has good genes or should have a baby. I am too young and he is too old. So here we go with the eugenics. Let me make this here. This plays into the eugenics a little bit here, where it looks like they were looking for certain girls that they said had good genes. The diary was shared by the woman's lawyers, Wigdor LLP, with federal prosecutors investigating Epstein and Maxwell. The woman later filed a lawsuit against Epstein associate Leon Black, the former chief executive of Apollo Global Management. Remember, we talked about him under the pseudonym Jane Doe in 2023. Leon Black was the one that also owns the Lifetouch Picture Company, which is a part of Apollo Group Management. He's the one that also is mentioned in the Epstein files as being sexually violent to a 7-year-old girl. The victim alleges that he assaulted her at Epstein's house in an assault that caused her to obviously bleed there. Black denied the allegations. The case is continuing. The Times was able to confirm her real name, but has chosen to protect her identity. The paper was not able to verify the woman's claims, and if true, what happened to the newborn. It has never been publicly confirmed that Epstein had any children, and there is no mention of any offspring in a will he drew up in the years before the 2019 death in a New York prison cell. Epstein's last known girlfriend, Karna Shulak, I think that's how you say her name, Kanya Shulak, and he stated he wanted to leave her his private island as well as $50 million and his Manhattan townhouse. In one video in the files released on Friday, which is undated, but appears to have been filmed at Epstein's New York mansion, a DNA paternity test can be seen on the table. In another email, one sent to Epstein in 2011, Sarah Ferguson, which is the ex-wife of formerly known as Prince Andrew, congratulate Epstein on the apparent birth of a child. So here's where we got to tie in other people. If you want to know if Jeffrey Epstein had children, seems like to me the people you need to talk to, because Jelaine's not talking, is Sarah Ferguson, or Fergie, and formerly known as Prince Andrew. Because something's going on. One message is signed off by Sarah and mentions the Duke. The sender congratulates Epstein on the apparent birth of a child. Don't know if you're still on this BBM, BlackBerry Messenger, but heard from the Duke, you have had a baby boy. So now we know it's a boy. Even though you never kept in touch, I still am here with love, friendship, and congratulations on your baby boy, Sarah. Here's that email here. Florida said, ask Lion Bill Gates. I love you guys. This was September 2011. Yeah, it says here, you have disappeared. I didn't know you were having a baby. It was so crystal clear to me that you were only friends with me to get to Andrew. And that really hurt me deeply, more than you will know. Interesting. And that's following up from here. Don't know if you're still in this is the part where they said, congratulations on the baby boy. So people keep saying, well, we don't know. We don't know. I say BS on that, right? You do know. A lot of these answers, since Jelaine Maxwell won't talk, seem to lie with Fergie and Andrew. In an email, right? Listen to this one. An email sent to Epstein's private account leaked last year to Bloomberg. There was a suggestion that Epstein and Maxwell talked about undergoing a shared fertility procedure. Here we go here. The email to Epstein in 2007, around the time she had claimed to have left Epstein's orbit and had already been dating the technology billionaire Ted Wyatt. She instructed, your cup plus instructions are in the Oval Room. The sample has to be dropped off at 10, plus you have to fill out the forms. I would have filled them for you, but I was not sure what you wanted to put on them. Let me know if you need and want me to do anything. You know what I was thinking about when I saw this? There's a docu-series on Netflix. I think it's called The Man Who Fathered 1,000 Kids or something like that. What if Jeffrey Epstein, with all these emails where we've seen him talking about eugenics in the files, what if Jeffrey Epstein was trying to produce as many kids as possible in favor of eugenics? What if he was trying to be like that guy in Europe on the Netflix docuseries that had over 1,000 children? Because what is revealed in that docuseries is that that guy's goal, and another guy who ends up joining him, their goal was to make the world more white. And then this means that Jeffrey Epstein has kids around here somewhere. Oh boy. My kind self said there are people talking about a cloning project at Zorro Ranch. Yeah, there's so many different things like in those files. And that's what it seems like. This is another operation that was allegedly happening on these different properties that Epstein owned. And like I said, now we're talking about kidnapping. What happened to these babies? Epstein confided in scientists a scheme to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his vast New Mexico ranch. This was reported in 2019. There is no evidence that it ever came to fruition. Epstein's vision reflected his long-standing fascination with what has become known as transhumanism, the science of improving the human population through technologies like genetic engineering and artificial intelligence. Critics have likened transhumanism to a modern-day version of eugenics, basically trying to make everybody like you. Epstein had based his idea for a baby ranch on accounts of the repository for germinal choice, which was to be stocked with the sperm of Nobel laureates who want to strengthen the human gene pool. Somewhere there's a mother without her kids that were stolen from her. These are not good people. You guys see why I say these rich people are not good? People were sharing it as well on X. Why is there an ultrasound in the Epstein files? Whose baby is this? Where is this child? Yeah, no, it's not AI. Where's that baby? The date here says 2011. Just things that people started to notice. Now, it says here, Yana Bogomalova in the upper left. Someone asked Grok who this person is. Grok said, Grok is AI on X for those who don't know. Grok said Yana Bogomalova is a Ukrainian woman mentioned in Jeffrey Epstein's release files. Reports indicate she and her sister Erna were recruited from Ukraine into Epstein's network around 2012, receiving training and assignments. A 2011 ultrasound video in the files shows her third trimester pregnancy, though details on the child or father remain unclear from public sources. Allegedly. Thomas Massey was on the floor again Tuesday afternoon, calling out the need to hold these people accountable. Like, guys, we really don't know how far this goes. I only know what I've seen in the files or what I've reported on in the past, what other people have come onto the show to show me, like via their research, whether it's Whitney Webb or Derek Bros, etc. I really don't know how far this goes, but it seems like to me it was a global criminal enterprise. And I believe there are multiple Jeffrey Epsteins. There's also this story about the 3 Israeli brothers that it seems like to me there are multiple Jeffrey Epsteins too. We have to get into a little bit of that. I think we'll have to get into it on Thursday. I have time. I'll go ahead and squeeze it in. But we got to talk about those brothers that are standing trial right now that were doing a similar operation to what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Listen to what Thomas Massey said here today.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Congress created the Department of Justice. Congress funds the Department of Justice. And Congress is responsible for the oversight of the Department of Justice. When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations in the Epstein files, over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things, so much of it redacted. Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide. But I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States from this Department of Justice. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, who has since been stripped of his royal titles due to his affiliation with Jeffrey Epstein, has been arrested. Peter Mandelson, who previously served as UK's ambassador to the United States, resigned in disgrace from United Kingdom's House of Lords and the Labour Party, and he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Torbjorn Jagland, has been charged. But we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. What do we see? We see our FBI director celebrating in the locker room at the Olympics overseas. It's fine to be proud of this country, but we should be proud of this country because we have a system of justice that works. And yet we do not.
Kash Patel was chugging beer with the U.S. Olympic hockey players instead of out here trying to arrest criminals that are participating in these activities. Just FYI.
Who are the men that should be investigated? I'll name them right here. Leon Black. You don't even have to see past the redactions to see that this man needs to be investigated. Jess Staley, accused of terrible things. It's right there in the files. Why is he not being investigated? And Leslie Wexner. Why did the FBI list him as a co-conspirator in their own documents in a child sex trafficking case and then tell him, according to him, that they had no questions for him? Why is that? Well, the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the DOJ and the FBI to disclose to us their internal memos and emails about how they made those decisions, whether to prosecute or not prosecute. Yet they have not delivered those memos. And we still don't have the memos and documents and emails from 2008 to explain why Jeffrey Epstein was given such a light sentence in what would have been an open and shut case of child sex trafficking, which allowed him to go back and recommit these terrible crimes, create hundreds of more victims, and ensnare so many other people in his conspiracy. Where are those documents that describe those decisions? We need justice. We want the Department of Justice to get to work, and that's what they need to do now.
Yeah, a number of arrests that have happened in Europe. I feel like there's a new one every day, but not here, of course, in the United States. I'm gonna pull up this picture here of those brothers, because remember a couple of days ago, I told you guys there's multiple Epsteins. So let me go to the three brothers. They're Israeli brothers. Here we go. I knew the Cradle would have it right on the money. Shout out to the Cradle. High-profile Israeli-American brothers face trial for sex trafficking in the United States. This here. This is the picture of them here. They're three brothers. Two of them are twins. And so this isn't getting a lot of attention like it should, but it seems like to me this is a similar Epstein operation. Three Israeli-American brothers, twins, Alan and Oren, and their older brother, Tal Alexander, are on trial. In the United States, they are accused of running a sex trafficking and sexual assault network. Sound familiar? Originally from Israel, the Alexanders built a high-profile career in luxury real estate, serving wealthy clients and celebrities, but prosecutors allege they used parties, drugs, and coercion to assault women, with each brother accused of assaulting women, at least 10 victims. Court testimony has included accounts from women lured to parties, drugged with substances such as ketamine, Xanax, Ambien, and GHB, and assaulted. Several civil suits have also been filed, including one by Kate Whiteman, who claimed she was attacked in the Hamptons in 2012. She later died in Australia under circumstances deemed non-suspicious. Sound familiar? That reminds me of Virginia Giuffre. It goes on here, and it says, text messages presented in court suggest the brothers coordinated drug use to incapacitate women. Outside court last week, their father, Shlomi Alexander, who immigrated from Israel to the U.S. to start a successful security company before branching into Miami real estate, claimed the cases had begun with a $35 million effort to extort him. The defense argues the allegations are part of this extortion attempt and describes the brothers' behavior as consensual dating rather than trafficking. The trial is ongoing, with prosecutors emphasizing coordinated assaults and drug use. Those are the brothers. And this is, we all know Epstein was using substances on people as well. This person's remembering what happened with the guy that was in Vegas who just fled back to Israel. I mean, this is why I say, and I'll go back to this one here. This is why I say, again, there are multiple Epsteins. And then, of course, Onka is talking about it as well. Now, again, I just want you guys to imagine if all three of these guys were Imagine if they were Palestinian. Imagine if they were Muslims. Imagine if they were black. Imagine if, you see what I'm saying? And from what I understand about these brothers, this was going on for years. Very similar to this Epstein operation. So there could be multiple Epsteins. There's another one here.
With ties to Miami Beach and New York arrested for their involvement in a sex trafficking scheme that dates back over a decade.
The Alexander brothers now facing federal charges, authorities calling them serial sexual predators.
And Local 10's Christian De La Rosa live now in Miami Beach with more on what we're learning tonight. Christian.
Well, we know that they own multiple luxury properties like this one on Pine Tree Drive right here in the Miami Beach area. We also know that they've been facing these type of allegations for months now. And so far, they've reportedly denied any wrongdoing. Tonight, though, they're in jail. Power, prestige, celebrity, and money is what authorities in South Florida and New York say the Alexander brothers used to lure women and sexually assault them. The siblings, known for their ties to very high-end real estate, Maybe
I have to jump ahead. Twitter does this sometimes. I'm sorry, guys. Let me try it again. And I have to go back to it again. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what happened to it now. And now it's gone. I'm sorry, guys. I'm usually more organized than this. I think I have to go back to that very top one. It was the cradle. Maybe it was this one. I did show this one. I hate that. I refreshed and now it's gone. Well, you guys get the point. But someone shared the data set too. They said that Allen showed up in Epstein file search, but the documents have been removed. So this was another one. Allen Alexander, data set 9. Tall Alexander, Oren Alexander. See how their names did show up in the files? And they've gone in and they've removed, some of these files as well. That's the other thing about this is like some of the things that we showed you guys early on are now like gone. And of course, that is intentional. I don't know what happened to the video, but anyway, you guys get the gist of it. But The Guardian is also reporting on this. I was so scared. U.S. trial witnesses allege Alexander brothers worked together to sexually assault women. So this is another one we'll have to look into as that trial continues to go on. But it's wild. It's wild, you guys. That's why I say I think there are several other Epsteins. And we talk about teaching an old dog like new tricks or whatever. Like it seemed like with the Epstein situation that they were willing to try some of any and everything to preserve his likeness, even if that meant producing babies with his DNA or trying to see if there's ways that he could live longer. Like all those conversations in there that he had with people like Bill Gates, etc. Like it's really creepy, really creepy. But somewhere out there are those babies. Someone mentioned it here. Kelly said, if the baby in that ultrasound were in utero in 2011, it would be 14, 15 years old in 2026. Are they out there being trafficked right now? It's a good question. Something to think about, ladies and gents. Something to think about. Let's go to the comments, ladies and gents. Thank you, Devotion Orange. Because of the statute of limitations on sex abuse in the United States, these predators aren't able to be prosecuted. We need a federal law banning this. I thought that if it's a child, if you're underage, there is no statute of limitations. I could be wrong, but that's what I thought it was for kids. Leroy said, I bet the babies were sacrificed or roomed. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Ritchie. I strongly suspect pro-life church organizations with coerce poor pregnant teens to give up their babies are also involved in human trafficking. Oh, that's an interesting point. Thank you, Helpful Harm. Pete NY Guard or Pete Nygaard to use girls for stem cells. And thank you, Tim Real Talk. The system isn't broken. It's working for who it's designed to work for. Free Palestine and lock all these psychopaths up. Love you, Sabby. Thank you. And I think we're going to get started here in just a second with the State of the Union address. Looks like they're all gathering together. One thing I wanted to tell you guys with the State of the Union address, it has been announced that Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie have decided to sit next to each other. That should be interesting. That should be interesting. Of course, there are some people that have decided to sit this out. I think Elizabeth Warren is one of them. My whole thing is like, why are you sitting it out? Like, don't run from Trump, confront Trump. Like, that's the thing. Like, don't run away from him. Go there and face him head on. Right? So I don't get the whole I'm not going to be there thing. I don't understand that. Also, it was announced, if you're coming in late to the show, it was announced that Erica Kirk is a special guest of Donald Trump. So I don't know if she's going to give some type of speech or something like that or whatever. But yeah, it just becomes more cringe. I don't know. It's like, oh my God. It's just more cringe, more cringe. I think Eric is queuing up things there in the background. I can go ahead and take the Rumble rant and then we can dive on over there if we want. All right. Thank you for the Rumble rant. Goo81. Alexander Bros logo almost looks like the Illuminati Freemasons logo. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, I guess we're about to see old dog, new tricks. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? We got a couple of minutes here, but people are already walking around here. I'll go ahead and put it up here and we'll just we'll keep it muted until they begin. Let's check out the audience, folks, shall we? Let's check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. There's the Trumps right there, front row. Let's see who we got over here. Does everybody have to wear a navy suit? Is that like a requirement? Oh, wait, there's a guy in a gray suit. There's a gray guy. He get gray. He has gray. But a lot of these guys have like dark, like the navy suit. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, like notice how the colors, like, can someone wear like a bright color or something? I don't know. That would be me. I'd show up with like the bright pink, like like Elle from Legally Blonde. I would show up with like a bright pink dress just to add some color and life into that room where everybody's wearing a black suit or a dark blue suit. I don't know. Hey, there's a pinky. She's wearing pink. This woman here has on red. See how easy it is to spot them? Like, bam, just like that. What do you guys think Donald Trump is going to say tonight? They're clapping. That means something. Let's see. There we go. State of the creation. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to make this so loud.
The president's cabinet.
I'm gonna need you guys to work on your sound. Not you, Eric. I'm talking about them in Congress. I mean, by now you guys should have this down. the president's cabinet. Oh, look, guys, it's the warmongers. Here goes Marco Rubio, the guy who hates Cuba and just wants to bomb and kill everybody. Next up, come on down. The Price is Right. And after Mark Rubio, we have this guy with the glasses on, whose name I always forget, but he's just happy to be there. He's like, look at me, look at me. Right after him, we have Pete Hegseth, whose head is hidden a little bit up. Nope, there it is. The guy who likes to blow up boats in the Caribbean. Oh, no. And, of course, here comes the blondie herself. Here comes Pam Bondi walking down the aisle. Well, way back there, actually, now. The woman who doesn't want to show you all the Epstein files and is protecting all the traffickers. Here she comes, marching down the aisle. All the criminals. Oh my gosh. It's laughable at best. Oh, someone has on a gold suit, you guys. She's wearing gold. Okay, she's trying to stand out. She's doing her thing. Don't hug her. Don't hug her. Look at me. I'm Pam Bondi. I crack down on criminals except for those that hurt kids. Supreme Court justices here. Ooh, honey, you guys starting to age. I'm looking at this now and I'm like, Amy Coney Bryant didn't look like she was that old before, but now I guess this is the stress of the job. I'm sorry, guys. I got to remember I have an audience. Exactly. You think I should do the World Cup? That would be funny. Sabrina, do the World Cup. I always made fun of like the baseball announcers because they're so like mellow and they're like, and he's up at the bat until they hit a home run and it's going, it's going, it's gone. Got to make it a little bit entertaining to see. Damn, Barron is tall. God damn. This is here. Yeah, he is really tall. I don't know who this guy is. Or they pivoted away from him. Oh, look, it's Mike Johnson, the guy who doesn't do anything. And there goes Peter Thiel's puppet, JD Vance, right there with his hands, clasped. Oh, that's right. Erica's gonna be here tonight too. JD, you get to see your friend Erica. It's a Game of Thrones giant. God damn. Fine Weather said he's 6'9" or something. God, good grief. The Baron smiled for 2 seconds and then went Trump. Oh my God. Yeah, here they come. I'm trying to see who's walking down there. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be a full house because like I said, some people announced that they're not going to attend. Again, I think that's a bully move. Like, I think it's bullshit. Like, I say, go stare your competitors in the face. Like, don't run away from them. That's a bitch ass move. Go stare them in the face. That's how I feel. Look, it's me. I'm Mike Johnson. I'm the Speaker of the House. I'm the guy that said we were going to come after, you got to go after Epstein and all them until it was my party in power and said, don't do it. There's Byron Donalds. Byron, is that your wife or is it your girlfriend? Because last time... Last time it was Byron. Byron was posting some photos on social media that he probably shouldn't have posted because he was obviously married, but he was messing around. And it's just like, you probably shouldn't have posted those photos at that time. Let's see who else we got here. There's RFK Jr., the guy who said he cared about food and health, who just said glyphosate is okay. I don't know who is this guy here with the glasses, the tall black guy with the glasses. I don't know who. I can't see who that is. There's Howard Lutnick right there, another Epstein file person. See, he's right next to Pam Bondi. See, of course she was going to protect him. Criminals and crooks. That in itself is bipartisan. Look at all the little puppets. All the little puppets in the world. What's that song by is it the Beatles? The one that said, no, it's not the Beatles. I forget who sings that song. It's the one like, look at all the people. Look at all the people, the happy people, something like that. Somebody in the chat probably knows. Mario said, we call this the managers for the elites. Yeah, you know what, Mario? That's a good way to put it. I like that. I like that. FM said, who's the opening act? No, no, no. See, Shada, I bet that room smells like cheese. Oh my God. Shiny happy people. Yeah, thanks, Eric. Shiny happy people. REM holding hands. Shiny happy people holding hands. Oh man. All right, here we go.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
That was loud, bro. So here we go. Yeah, I told you guys they have to work on their audio, I think. Look at all the sycophants. Boo! I know, they all kissing his ass. Let me kiss your ass so you don't try to like get me out of Congress like you're trying to do Thomas Massey. Is that guy wearing is he wearing the hat? I think he is wearing the hat. Oh boy. Where is Secret Service? Is that supposed to be Secret Service? The guy right behind him? No, I don't think so. I don't think that is Secret Service. There's Al Green with the ponytail. Let's stay together, loving you whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. It's the only other person I know named Al Green. I don't know who this guy is, but he ain't clapping. Oh no, Al Green held up a sign. I can't see what it said though. Ah. There's the pink lady. Okay, someone has on coral. I think that's Sean Duffy from The Real World, and that's who will always be to me, is Sean from The Real World Boston. I know myself said holding signs. Oh, and then we couldn't even see what it said. Like, what did the sign say? I don't know. Melania always looks so happy. No, no, no. Where's Jelaine? No, 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 no. The character from Family Guy. No, 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 no. All right, I'm gonna stop laughing now, guys. Let's get into it. was struggling to get up those steps for a minute. I don't know. Trump ignored Amy. Okay. Okay. Everybody can take a seat now. Did that actually happen, Kathy? Someone had mentioned that before. Did that actually happen? Maybe he'll poop his pants again? Here's our glorious leader. Oh boy. Okay, dude, we get it. You can go ahead and get started now. Let's watch him when he walks up to the podium, guys, because he had some trouble getting up those steps. Those are 2 small steps there.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's really an honor. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, First Lady of the United States. Second Lady of the United States.
No, it's actually Erica.
Members of Congress and my fellow Americans, our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. Less than 5 months from now, our country will celebrate an epic milestone in American history, the 250th anniversary of our glorious American independence. This July 4th, we will mark 2.5 centuries of liberty and triumph, progress and freedom in the most incredible and exceptional nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And you've seen nothing yet. We're going to do better and better and better. This is the golden age of America. When I last spoke in this chamber 12 months ago, I had just inherited a nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels, a wide open border, horrendous recruitment for military and police, rampant crime at home, and wars and chaos all over the world. But tonight, after just 1 year, I can say with dignity and pride that we have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before, and a turnaround for the ages. It is indeed a turnaround for the ages.
We still have chaos and war, and the economy is still crap. What is he talking about?
And we will never go back to where we were just a very short time ago. We're not going back. Today, our border is secure.
Sycophants.
Thank you. Today, our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. And our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked. And America is respected again, perhaps like never before.
This is all like so many lies, you guys. So many lies. This is absolutely ridiculous.
After 4 years in which millions and millions of illegal aliens poured across our borders, totally unvetted and unchecked, we now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far. In the past 9 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States. But we will always allow people to come in legally, people that will love our country and will work hard to maintain our country. The flow of deadly fentanyl across our border is down by a record 56% in 1 year.
He never shows the graphs for this stuff, by the way. He just gets up there and says stuff. I don't even believe that. I don't believe anything that Trump is
Here,
saying.
the murder rate saw its single largest decline in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years, year 1900. In fact, substantially before my wonderful father, I had a wonderful father, Fred, before he was born, substantially before he was born. That's a long time ago. He wouldn't like me to say that, but that's a long time ago. The Biden administration and its allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. But in 12 months, my administration has driven core inflation down to the lowest level in more than 5 years. And in the last 3 months of 2025, it was down to 1.7%.
The prices don't look like they went down to me. You guys let me know in the chat. Have the prices gone down to you? I haven't seen that.
Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster, is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places, $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline.
Yeah, key word there, Iowa. And I don't even know if that's true.
Mortgage rates are the lowest in 4 years and falling fast, and the annual cost of a typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000 just since I took office. 1 year.
That is a damn lie. I want to know where that's happening at, because it damn sure is not happening over here on the East Coast. I don't see mortgage rates down by like 5,000. What is he where is this information coming from? Someone's going to debunk all this stuff tomorrow. Watch.
And low interest rates will solve the Biden-created housing problem well, at the same time protecting the values of those people who already own a house that really feel rich for the first time in their lives. We want to protect those values. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. And we are going to keep it that way. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that, 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. In 4 long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe.
Thank you so much, KMB. KMB said, I live in Iowa. Gas is $2.50. Thank you for being honest. Thank you. Oh, man.
Think of it, much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus much more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, the hottest. As thousands of new businesses are forming in factories, plants, and laboratories are being built, we have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a very short period of time. It's getting bigger and bigger and stronger. Nobody can believe what they're watching. American oil production is up by more than 600,000 barrels a day, and we just received from our new friend and partner, Venezuela, more than 80 million barrels of oil.
Didn't I tell you that's what it was about? It had nothing to do with drugs. It was about taking the oil from Venezuela.
American natural gas production is at an all-time high because I kept my promise to drill, baby, drill. More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think about that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today. And 100% of all jobs created under my administration have been in the private sector.
Eric, can you look up really quick the current unemployment rate? Because I know it's increased for Black Americans, but can you look it up? I'm curious.
We ended DEI in America. We cut a record number of job-killing regulations, and in 1 year, we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record, off of food stamps. And for all of these reasons, I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong.
Okay, guys, it says the current unemployment rate is 4.3% in January 2026, ticking down slightly from 4.4% in December of 2025. We have 7.36 million people are unemployed in this country. And then remember, that does not include people. This is something else I want to add in. That doesn't include people that live like with their parents. So if you're an adult and let's say you just graduated from college or high school, but you live with your parents, you're not included in that rating. So even though you may be unemployed, you don't have a job, if you actually haven't filed for unemployment, you're not included. If you're not considered to be head of household, I think you're also not included. So keep that in mind. But that's still ridiculous that 7.36 million people in the United States are unemployed. That's insane.
That's the first time I've ever seen them get up. And actually, not all of them did get up. But they beat a fantastic Canadian team in overtime, as everybody saw, as did the American women who will soon be coming to the White House.
No. Don't be sending no women to the White House. We do not need the women to be around Howard Lutnick and the rest of the people on your team. Don't send no women to the White House. Bad idea. Oh my God.
They were in the Oval Office before, and I just want to say a second very big congratulations to Team USA. But I have to say that, and I told them this, and we took a vote of the team. I said, anybody votes no, I'm not doing it. So they stood there, and they weren't about to say no, because I'd never seen a goaltender play as well as goalie Connor Hellebuck.
It's wild, man.
Think of it, 46 shots on goal, and I asked him, the one shot, the one where you put your stick in the back and it hit the neck of your stick and bounced off. You practice that, or was that a little lucky? He refused to answer that question. But I just want to tell you that the members of this great hockey squad will be very happy to hear, based on their vote and my vote, and in this case, my vote was more important, that I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given, and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Great athletes have gotten that, very great, the best, and I thought he deserved it. And I did take a vote, every single one of them. I said, I'm not giving it if anybody goes no, and every single one of them rapidly put up their hand. So I want to thank you all. What a special job you did. What special champions you are. Thank you very much.
He really trying to distract from those Epstein files, huh?
I'm also pleased to say that the next time the Olympic torch is lit, it will be here in America for the 2028 Olympics, and it's the summer version right in Los Angeles. We're going to do a good job in Los Angeles.
Anyway, corruption, files, war, Wall Street, military-industrial complex. Anyway.
And Los Angeles is going to be safe, just like Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities in the country.
No, it's not, because all the crooks are right there.
And this year, and I must say I got them both. I got them in my first term, and I was disappointed because I didn't think I'd be the president when this happened. But strange things took place. And now I've got them because I got the Olympics and I got the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And I wanted to claim the 250th, but I didn't get away with that one. I couldn't claim that one for myself. But we're getting the World Cup. So we have the World Cup and the Olympics coming. And that is exciting news.
I just want to warn people about something. A lot of times, like those types of sporting events, you know what else they're notorious for? Trafficking. The Super Bowl, the World Cup, the Olympics. That's another thing that tends to happen at those types of sporting events. Just something to keep in mind.
So this will be a year to celebrate our country and the heroes who have kept it free. Men like Buddy Taggart. At age 17, Buddy volunteered to defend America in World War II, serving in the Pacific under the great General Douglas MacArthur. He fought bravely in the famous Battle of Manila, worked so hard. He was badly wounded and almost killed by enemy machine guns in Luzon. And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines, one of the largest anywhere in the world. But he earned many honors, including a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, came home, started a family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday.
That guy does not look like he's about to be 100 years old. Damn. Also, pay attention to how Trump is leaning on that podium.
So, buddy, you're a brave man, and we salute you. Even in times of challenge, setback, and immense heartache, the spirit of 1776 has always shone through very brightly. It was July 4th of last year when floodwaters tore through a girls' summer camp in Central Texas. One of the worst things I've ever seen. I was there, rising 26 feet in the matter of minutes, tragically claiming many, many lives. You all remember that one. As the waters threatened to sweep her away, 11-year-old Millie Kate McClelland closed her eyes and prayed to God. She thought she was going to die. Those prayers were answered when Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin descended from a helicopter above. Nobody knew where he came from. It was Scott's first ever rescue mission, a young guy, but very brave, very, very top, always top in his class. And he lifted not just Millie Kate, but 164 others to safety.
Get that girl out of there. Get her out of there. Get her out of there. Someone brought a kid into this event where you have Howard Lutnick. You have all these people in the Epstein files. You brought a child there? Oh, my God.
People watched Scott from a distance, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The winds were blowing, the rain was pouring, everything was going, and that rapid water, nobody's ever seen anything like it. They said, wow, that's something. Tonight, Scott and Millie Kate are here together, reunited for the very first time. Thank you, Scott, Millie Kate. And Petty Officer Ruskin, I'm pleased to inform you that I am now awarding you the Legion of Merit for extraordinary heroism, which is what it was, extraordinary heroism. Thank you. And I'd like to have the military aide to please come down and take care of the service. Military aide, thank you very much. Take care of that very important service. Thank you very much. From 1776 to today, every generation of Americans has stepped forward to defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they're really doing it for the next generation. But now it's our turn. Together, we're building a nation where every child has the chance to reach higher and go further, where government answers to the people, not the powerful, and where the interests of hardworking American citizens are always our first and ultimate concern. That is the debt we owe to the heroes who came before us, and that is the promise we must keep to America for our 250th year. Last year, I urged this Congress to begin the mission by passing the largest tax cuts in American history, and our Republican majorities delivered so beautifully. Thank you, Republicans.
So we always ask who the tax cut is for, right? Like the tax cut is usually for big business, the corporation, for Wall Street, not for the everyday average Joe, right? Trump always look out for his rich buddies. They're in the same club.
Every single one of them voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts. They wanted large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with the great, big, beautiful bill, we gave you no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
I'm not even positive that actually happened. Like, I remember them talking about it, but I'm not even positive that that's actually what it is. It's not just no tax on tips. There's tricks to this stuff.
Tax deductible the first time, but only if the car is made in America. Recently in Pennsylvania, I met Megan Hemhauser, a devoted mom who's homeschools her children, beautiful, 2 children, during the day while waiting tables at night as her husband works overtime operating very heavy equipment. Megan is here this evening, and she's happy to tell you that she is so much richer because with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and her expanded child tax credit done again by Republicans, Megan and her husband will take home more than $5,000 extra just for the year, cutting her tax bill in more than half. Megan, please stand up. We're fighting for you, Megan.
Yeah, but wasn't this at the expense of healthcare though? Wasn't that at the expense of Medicare? You guys have to remind me. It's been a while. A lot has happened.
Parents like Megan can also activate their children's brand new Trump accounts. And I didn't name it. I did not name it. I did not name that. Nobody believes me, but I did not name it. It was named by a very tall man sitting right there in the third row. Nice man, a good man. Tax-free investment accounts for every American child. This is something that's so special and has taken off and gone through the roof. Millions will be pre-funded courtesy of the U.S. Treasury and private individuals like Michael and Susan Dell, who have donated $6.25 billion to fund the Trump accounts for 25 million American children. They're great people.
Okay, Eric said all it did is create a temporary tax deduction for a subset of tipped workers. Thanks, Eric.
You know, I asked Michael Dell, how do you make all that money? He said, well, I just sat on my dorm in school and I made computers and I'd sell them to people. And I just kept selling and selling and selling. And pretty amazing story. That's called the American dream. He sold a lot of computers, a lot of those laptops. So I congratulate him on that. But I really thank him and Susan, as well as others like Brad Gerstner, a very tremendous guy. He was behind it right from the beginning. Brad Gerstner. Thank you, Brad. So with modest additional contributions, these young people's accounts could grow to over $100,000 or more by the time they turn 18. Think of it. How much money is that for somebody that started with nothing? Over 100,000, could be much more than that. To make this investment in our children's future, go to trumpaccounts.gov, trumpaccounts.gov. And a lot of people are doing it. It's setting every record in the book. It's popular. They knew what it was going to take. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of the people that got it started. And now it's just taken off. One of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us so badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it. And yet these countries are now happy, and so are we. We made deals. The deals are all done. And they're happy. They're not making money like they used to, but we're making a lot of money. There was no inflation, tremendous growth. And the big story was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly, and 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong. They got it really wrong. And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling.
This is where we call BS, right? Because the tariffs, you know who they really did hurt here in the United States? The farmers, which we warned about. The small businesses and the farmers who depend on supplies and products from other countries in order to operate their farms, because we don't really make much here in the US. And some of the equipment that is used on farms, the parts for those equipments actually comes from other countries. We got a number of stories on the show where the farmers were complaining because of the tariffs. So, of course, Donald Trump isn't going to mention that. Bullshit.
But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful country saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
Man. That was him trying to intimidate SCOTUS, by the way, because they're there.
Moving forward, factories, jobs, investment, and trillions of dollars will continue pouring into the United States of America because we finally have a president who puts America first. I put America first. I love America.
Israel first. He puts Israel first.
For decades before I came along, we had the exact opposite. From trade to healthcare, from energy to immigration, everything was stolen and rigged in order to drain the wealth out of the productive, hardworking people who make our country great, who make our country run. Under Biden and his corrupt partners in Congress and beyond, it reached a breaking point with the Green New scam, open borders for everyone. They poured in by the millions and millions from prisons, from mental institutions. They were murderers, 11,888 murders. They came into our country. You allowed that to happen.
You really can't complain about criminals and murderers coming into the country when your entire administration is covering up for an entire Epstein class of people that are criminals and murderers and traffickers, mobsters. So you really can't complain about that. You guys see this? This is the hypocrisy. Like Trump, it doesn't even work the way it used to for Trump. It don't even, it doesn't work the way it does anymore. How are you going to talk about criminals and murderers and you're protecting criminals and murderers right now?
And record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a speck of time. Now, the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word. They just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
Suddenly, he said, suddenly use the word affordability. Suddenly, I don't know the guy who sings that song, but it's suddenly life has new meaning to me. I don't know. My parents used to listen to that song. But anyway, the thing is like people have been talking about affordability for a long time. It just like, and then even on his team, they've been saying affordability. Didn't Vivek Ramaswamy say that Republicans need to start focusing on affordability? Oh man, this is rough. This is brutal. It's Billy Ocean. Thank you. I knew somebody would know. I knew it.
They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward.
The prices still look high to me, guys.
The price of eggs is down 60%. Madam Secretary. Thank you. The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot. And even beef, which was very high, is starting to come down significantly. Just hold on a little while. We're getting it down. And soon you will see numbers that few people would think were possible to achieve just a short time ago. Nobody can believe when they see the kind of numbers, and especially energy, when they see energy going down to numbers like that, they cannot believe it. It's like another big tax cut. I'm also confronting one of the biggest ripoffs of our times, the crushing cost of health care caused by you. Since the passage of the Unaffordable Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare, big insurance companies have gotten rich. It was meant for the insurance companies, not for the people. With our government giving them hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year as their stock prices soared 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, and even 1,700%, like nothing else. That's why I introduced the great healthcare plan. I want to stop all payments to big insurance companies and instead give that money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care, which will be better health care at a much lower cost.
This is another crumbs thing here, right? Now, he makes it sound like this will be a better thing, and I hate our current healthcare system, but the reality is anything that is outside of or does not meet universal healthcare is going to be short for the American people. That's just the reality. This whole thing, I give you money, buy your own health insurance. Okay, but what is going to be the minimum price of the health insurance? How much money are they going to give you per month? What's going to be the limitations on that? What are they going to use to say, well, if you make this amount of money, then you get this amount per month? You see what I'm saying? It does not make any sense. They're just complicating an issue that could be a lot easier if we just had universal health care for everybody. So all these different band-aids they keep trying to put on this issue, whether it's Democrats or the Republican, is not solving the ultimate problem. That's just the reality. It's insane the way that they continue, all of them continue to give the insurance companies what they want.
In addition, my plan requires maximum price transparency. That's a big deal. Sounds so simple, so big. And I did that in my first term, and the Democrats immediately terminated it with full knowledge that they were doing a very bad thing for the people. Costs were going to go way up, and that's what happened. And now I'm bringing them way down on healthcare and everything else. I'm also ending the wildly inflated cost of prescription drugs like has never happened before. Other presidents tried to do it, but they never could. They tried. Most didn't try, actually. But they tried. They said they tried. They couldn't do it. They didn't even come close. They were all talk and no action, but I got it done. Under my just enacted most favored nation agreements, Americans who have for decades paid by far the highest prices of any nation anywhere in the world for prescription drugs will now pay the lowest price anywhere in the world for drugs. Anywhere, the lowest price.
Why did he roll his eyes when he said that?
So in my first year of the second term, should be my third term, but strange things happen. I took prescription drugs, a very big part of healthcare, from the highest price in the entire world to the lowest. That's a big achievement. The result is price differences of 300, 400, 500, 600% and more, all available right now at a new website called TrumpRx.gov. And I didn't name that one either, by the way.
Ego is a bad thing, guys.
And here tonight is the very first customer ever to get that big discount, and it is big, Catherine Rayner. For 5 years, she and her husband have struggled with infertility, and they turned to IVF. One drug has been costing Catherine $4,000 to purchase. But a few weeks ago, she logged onto the Trump RX website and got that same drug that cost $4,000, got it for under $500, a reduction of much more, actually, than $3,500. Catherine, we are all praying for you, and you're going to be a great mom.
Yeah, prescription drug prices need to come down. But guys, I'm trying to tell you, it's still a ripoff. When you see how much it costs these companies to make these prescription drugs, and then you see what they're charging for it, they're still really getting over on the people. It's ridiculous.
That all Americans can profit from a rising stock market, let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information.
Uh-oh.
They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she's here?
Uh-oh, here we go.
Pass the Stop Insider Trading Act without delay.
Did that guy sit back down? This guy that was standing here, he stood up and then he sat right back down like, oh, wait a minute, not enough people standing. Let me sit back down.
I wasn't sure if anybody even on this side was going to applaud for that. I'm very impressed. Thank you. I'm very impressed. But when it comes to the corruption that is plundering, it's plundering America. There's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayer. Oh, we have all the information. And in actuality, the number is much higher than that. And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe. So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance.
Imagine talking about having a war on fraud and ending corruption, and you are covering up Epstein files. Like, you literally had the DOJ just recently remove your name out of the Epstein files. But here you are talking about corruption and fraud. What he means is corruption and fraud on the Democrat side, not on the Republican side. It's wild, man. I feel like we live in a cartoon.
He'll get it done. Find enough of that fraud, we will actually have a balanced budget overnight. It'll go very quickly. That's the kind of money you're talking about. We'll balance our budget. The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where corruption and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings us problems right here to the USA. And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime.
Sounds like you should go after the billionaire class. You should go after the people at the top who set those prices instead of going after working class people. That's what it sounds like to me.
We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games. Delilah. Delilah Coleman was only 5 years old in June 2024 when a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more. The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Doctors said Delilah would never be able to walk or talk, have a good life. She wouldn't even be able to eat again. But against all odds, she is now in the first grade learning to walk. And she's here this evening with her dad, Marcus, a fantastic man. Delilah, please, you are a great inspiration. Please stand up.
Hey there, Delilah. It's another kid. Get them kids out of that room.
Thank you, Delilah. Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location. That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
Someone tell me the song. I forget who sings it. Remember that song that goes, "Hey there, Delilah." Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I can't remember who sings that song. Hey there, Delilah. I'll listen to it tonight.
And yesterday, as you probably saw at the White House, I hosted a ceremony with Americans who lost their treasured loved ones to the scourge of illegal immigration. People came into our country, how we allowed this to happen with our open borders. These are the angel moms and families that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored. It was terrible. Hard to believe, actually. In 2023, a 16-year-old high school cheerleader named Elizabeth Medina was supposed to perform in her town's Christmas parade, but she never arrived. Her mother, Jacqueline, went home to look for her, and she found her lying dead in a bathtub, bleeding profusely after being stabbed 25 times. Elizabeth's killer was a previously arrested illegal alien who had broken in and brutally extinguished the brightest light in her family's life, violently and viciously. Her heartbroken mother is in the gallery to remind everyone in this chamber exactly why we are deporting illegal alien criminals to our country at record numbers, and we're getting them the hell out of here fast. We don't want them.
You know what's interesting? Again, all this talk about criminal, but not for the Epstein class. There's bodies allegedly buried at Zorro Ranch, but he doesn't want to talk about that. Again, no shade to her. Like, she's just a victim in all this. But I'm saying this is the game that Donald Trump plays, so that you're not looking at the people in power.
We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you. As we speak, Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's all cut off. It's all cut off. They have instituted another Democrat shutdown, the first one costing us 2 points on GDP 2 points we lost on GDP, which probably made them quite happy, actually. Now they have closed the agency responsible for protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight, I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security, homeland security of the United States, and also for helping people clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats, and it would be nice. We'd love to give you a hand at cleaning it up, but you gave no money. Nobody's getting paid. It's a shame. So you have to think about it. We have, in case you didn't know, a pretty large snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight, I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Does that include protecting American citizens from organized global crime networks that are also part of Mossad and trafficking networks? Apparently not. Apparently not. Richard said the fastest way to cut the budget is balance the budget is to cut the military by 90%.
Ashamed of yourself.
Uh-oh, I missed something. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's see what I missed. Something happened, so it's a long ass clap. I know that. Hey there, Delilah. Now I have this song stuck in my head.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself, not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Uh-oh. So that goes back to the mayors of the city. They're the ones that decided if the cities were going to be sanctuary cities or not. I'm not sure what members of Congress have to do with that. That's why I'm a little bit confused. But let's go on.
And perhaps most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act. To stop illegal aliens and others who are unpermitted persons from voting in our sacred American elections. That cheating is rampant in our elections. It's rampant. It's very simple. All voters must show voter ID.
So
all voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote.
So none of this is going to happen. You know why? Because Republicans are about to lose the House. Democrats look like they're destined to pick up in the midterms. It looks like Democrats are going to have control of the House yet again. That's why he's calling out the Democrats there or whatever. And that's why he's saying all the stuff he's talking about with voter ID, Remember, all these things have to be passed through Congress. So the reality is they're about to lose control of the House, and the Democrats are going to have it back, and they're not going to pass those things. Congress actually holds the keys to the purse.
No more crooked mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. None. And this should be an easy one. And by the way, it's polling at 89%, including Democrats, 89%. And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good. No good. Both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly agree on the policy that we just enunciated. And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens.
Before anything else happens, right? So not arresting any of these people in the Epstein files, that's not important. That's this should matter before everything else. By the way, for those who are not aware, Zohran Mamdani is not a communist. Please look up the definition of communism. Donald Trump is exaggerating on purpose.
ID. One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason. They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat. They have cheated, and their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And we're going to stop it. We have to stop it, John.
But Donald Trump is the one right now that has the terrible approval rating. So here's the thing. Thank you so much for saying this, Pork Flaps. They're going to try to force digital ID. Yes, finally someone gets it. It doesn't stop with voter ID. This is the first step for them pushing towards a digital ID so that they can track you, so they can surveil you. That's ultimately the end goal. That's why they want you to get these other forms of identification. I mean, if you have a state ID or driver's license, you should be fine, right? Why do you need to get a voter ID? Why do you need to get this new real, true ID or whatever they're pushing this time around? So I'm telling you guys, they're trying to get closer and closer to that digital ID. If you are a religious person, if you're a Christian or whatever, maybe you can look into this a little bit differently. Some people will point to that and say, well, maybe that seems like the mark of the beast. Some people say that Social Security number is the mark of the beast. I don't know. But all I'm saying is they're really trying to force that. And you got to remember that J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel, they're all in on this. And Erica Kirk already endorsed J.D. Vance for Turning Point USA. So I'm trying to tell you what's coming down the pipeline.
And here is one more opportunity to show common sense in government. In the gallery tonight are Sage Blair and her mother, Michelle. In 2021, Sage was 14 when school officials in Virginia sought to socially transition her to a new gender, treating her as a boy and hiding it from her parents. Hard to believe, isn't it? Before long, a confused Sage ran away from home after she was found in a horrific situation in Maryland. A left-wing judge refused to return Sage to her parents because they did not immediately state that their daughter was their son. Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and wonderful young woman with a full-ride scholarship to Liberty University. Sage and Michelle, please stand up.
There's Erica. That's Erica Kirk right there, guys. That's got to be Erica right here in the blonde.
And thank you for your great bravery. And who can believe that we're even speaking about things like this? 15 years ago, if somebody was up here and said that, they'd say, what's wrong with him? But now we have to say it because it's going on all over numerous states without even telling the parents. But surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would believe that we're even talking about this? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately.
Candace did this. Well, we might show it if we have time. Someone called Erica Bride of Chucky. Candace did that. Candace got maybe we'll have time to show the trailer. Oh, man.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. Amazing. Incredible. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we? Huh? No one cares more about protecting America's youth than our wonderful First Lady, now a movie star. She's a movie star. Can you believe it?
Oh,
Who would have believed that? Over the past year, she has had an incredible impact championing AI legislation, advancing a landmark executive order on foster care, and helping secure $30 million to launch the Melania Trump Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. It's a tremendous, really a tremendous thing that happened and had a lot of bipartisan support. She gets much better bipartisan support than I do. I get none. She gets a lot. Someday you're going to have to tell me how you did that. And students and educators in every state have joined the First Lady's efforts in the presidential AI challenge, keeping America's next generation positioned to succeed and strongly succeed in the future. Tonight, we welcome two young people whose lives reflect the First Lady's impact, Sierra Burns and Everest Nevermont. Thank you both, and Melania, thank you. I know how hard you worked on it. Thank you very much. I'm very proud to say that during my time in office, both the first 4 years and in particular this last year, there has been a tremendous renewal in religion, faith, Christianity, and belief in God. Tremendous renewal.
Wow.
This is especially true among young people, and a big part of that had to do with my great friend, Charlie Kirk, a great guy, great man.
All right, guys. So here we go. I think this is where he's going to introduce Erica Kirk, right? It's interesting that he mentions Christianity during a time when he's literally trying to cover up and hide and protect these men that abuse children. But he's promoting Christianity. Charlie Kirk wanted the Epstein files to be released. Let's all remember that, okay? Let's keep it moving and grooving.
So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred, really martyred for his beliefs. His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us tonight. Erica, please stand.
Oh, Lord, here we go. Cue the tears, cue the music. What's the music from The Godfather? At the beginning. It's just, come on. He called Charlie Kirk's killer, he said an assassin. He called him an assassin. What? What? Here it comes. Here come Miss. Go down there and get that Oscar, girl. Go ahead, girl.
Thank you, Erica. Been through a lot. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind. We love religion, and we love bringing it back, and it's coming back at levels that nobody actually thought possible. It's really
You love one type of religion, not all religion.
a beautiful thing to see. Above all, unleashing America's promise requires keeping our communities safe. We have made incredible strides, yet dangerous repeat offenders continue to be released by pro-crime Democrat politicians again and again. We are honored to be joined tonight by a woman who's been through hell, Anya Zuretska. In 2022, she and her beautiful daughter, so beautiful, what a beautiful young woman, Irina, fled war-torn Ukraine to live with relatives near Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail, stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget. There were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly.
No one will forget the expression on the Epstein victims' faces as they looked up as this administration decided to protect the perpetrators. So it's just the hypocrisy is wild.
She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zuretska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina. How do you not stand? How do you not stand? I'm asking this Congress to pass tough legislation to ensure that violent and dangerous repeat offenders are put behind bars, and importantly, that they stay there.
I don't think he was. I think Trump got that wrong. I don't think the guy that, I know he was mentally ill, but the guy that killed the woman that he was just talking about, I don't remember that guy being an immigrant. I thought that guy was American. But it's Trump.
Starting last summer, I deployed our National Guard and federal law enforcement to restore law and order to our most dangerous cities, including Memphis, Tennessee, big success, New Orleans, Louisiana, big success, and our nation's capital itself, Washington, D.C., where we have almost no crime anymore in Washington, D.C. How did that happen? In fact, crime in Washington is now at the lowest level ever recorded, and murders in D.C. this January were down close to 100% from a year ago. They don't like to hear that. One of the sick people, one of the brave service members who helped achieve this stunning turnaround was 20-year-old West Virginia Army National Guard Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. After a 4-month deployment, she voluntarily extended her service, and her rank was going to be lifted. She was doing so well. They were so proud of her. But the very next day, she was on patrol near the White House when she was ambushed and shot in the head by a terrorist monster from Afghanistan. Shouldn't have been in our country. And all because she wore the uniform of our nation, she was shot. He traveled here because he didn't like people wearing our uniform. He was sick and deranged, shouldn't have been in our country. Sarah.
I don't know about you guys, but we don't have to keep going on all night with this if you don't want to. You guys let me know. You want to wrap it up and I can show you the Bride of Charlie trailer? Let me know. It's just he's really dragging this out. It's been an hour and a half since he started this speech. So let me know in the chat, guys, because I can just jump right into okay. Danny said he had enough. Let's see. Yeah, people are saying wrap it up. Okay, it's too long. All right, let's go to the I can only take so much of that. Eric, if you go to Candace's channel. Yeah, okay. So Candace put out this Candace put out this trailer for her new investigative series. I'm sorry, this shit is hilarious. I saw this pop up and it said coming soon, The Bride of Charlie. And for those who don't know, I'm sure it's a play on The Bride of Chucky. So it's The Bride of Charlie. But yeah, check this out. This is funny. I was like, what? Look at it. The Bride of Charlie.
President Trump says that Kirk has died after he was shot at Utah Valley University. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.
That young man, I forgive him.
Take your time.
Erica Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead.
It's weird to say excited. Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century. Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists
the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
We heard conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm going to touch your butt. $8.6 million to their own shell company. What is going on?
We have nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
Oh man, guys, that's coming. So it she even put the guy in the "what is going on" guy. What is going on? Like this is gonna be good. Oh my gosh. I think it said on Twitter that I think they're starting to get into this on Wednesday. So it should be oh my gosh, this is going to be interesting. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show with me tonight. I know we still have some super chats to go through as well. Eric's going to read the rest of the super chats and close out the show. And I'll be back live again on Thursday night. We're going to do call in this week on Thursday night because with the State of the Union, that's too long and it's already 10:30. And I believe he's still running his mouth. So we'll do it Thursday night instead.
He's still talking.
That ego, man. That ego. Jeez.
Talking about taking it to another level, as always. I did want to show you one super chat. One person pointed out, I assume they're correct. Got a lot of chats in here. Talking about, we saw Al Green holding up a sign when Trump was coming in.
Yeah.
So thanks for this super chat, Megan, who says Al Green's sign said black people aren't apes. So there you go.
Well, wow. Well, at least someone's willing to, not cower to Trump's, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the people who say they're not going to attend and they're like, I'm not going to sit there while that guy talks. I'm like, nah, go look at him face to face. You know what I mean? Don't run away from him. Look him straight in the eye. Look at him face to face. Man.
Yeah, you know, it's all a game.
Yeah.
All this supposed fighting, and what no one's doing, of course, is calling out the billionaires and the real core game of what's going on.
Exactly.
And the corruption. I mean, and you'll hear like Trump, call out corruption, and it's part of the game they play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saying, "Oh yeah, I'm against the corruption that this party's doing." But not against fixing the system.
Exactly. Exactly.
All players in.
All right, guys. Eric's going to close it out and read the rest of the super chats there. And I'll see you guys Thursday night.
All right. We're going to let our Sabby go. I'm sure she's going to rush to her TV now and watch the rest of the Trump speech because I can see in the background here it's still going on. So, it's you don't want to miss any of that, or do we? But what I wanted to highlight here is, I also just wanted to note how, of course, it all is a game and it's it's theater. Trump is, a particular player in it. But you can't, it's funny, you want to laugh at it, but it's kind of a dark laughter. But we still have to some extent. Let me just straighten up things here. All right. But what I wanted to also highlight here is the latest Substack post from 11 Demands. Let me put that in the chat as well, just to have that link out there. But yeah, building on the State of the Union, right? I think this is apropos, saying the State of the Union is corrupt, and I happened to see on the old Twitter X. somebody posted a video with showing Trump here, or of course it's an AI generated video, but having Trump in a NASCAR style suit with all the sponsors, and of course Israel in the middle. But I thought, even beyond Israel, it's got Palantir, Pfizer, of course, a big one, big pharma. You got Google in there, and basically, it's the system, it's the billionaires. But let's take a look. Let me make this a touch bigger, even. Yeah. All right. So the State of the Union is corrupt. A Trump presidency makes it obvious our government is corrupt. And it's not just a little corrupt. No, it runs deep and wide. And it's not just Trump. Trump will take things to the extreme, and he certainly did that tonight. But any analysis that portrays the Republican and Democratic parties as significantly different entities is flawed. As is usually the case, an MCDS analysis will provide clarity. We're talking about MCDS, money, corruption, demands, and solutions. M. Both parties are about the money. Our supposed representatives line their pockets and live large while working people have to scrape to get by. Both parties are corrupt. From the top on down, they serve the billionaires and that Epstein class. Why? Because that's where the money is. The D, our Congress members, they actually do respond to the demands of their constituents. The thing is, and they're quite good at it, the thing is, their constituents aren't us. Their constituents are the top 0.1%, the billionaires, not us, the 99%. The solution to this mess is a mass movement based on clear demands, with a strong focus on corruption. It's up to us to make those demands and be relentless about not settling for less. They give us crumbs to stop us from demanding the whole cake. And the whole cake is a government that works in the interest of the 99%. A few members of Congress, like Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, have been pushing for more of the Epstein files to be released, and also for a war powers resolution. That's good, but it's not nearly enough. And the basic question needs to be asked. Why are they still members of these deeply corrupt warmongering parties? At any time, these supposedly dissident members could exit the Uniparty and form a new independent coalition that calls out the corruption and truly represents the working class. Even if it was a small number of them working together behind a clear sense of principles, that would yield serious power and influence. And they would be wildly popular. So why don't they do that? As with all the why questions in politics, the answer is the same. Money. They are comfortable in these positions. If they were the type of folks who would seriously rock the boat, they would not have been allowed to win their party primaries and get into those seats in the first place. They're not the heroes we're looking for. The heroes that we need are us. It starts with having real demands, not settling for less. 11 Demands is, at its core, a way of thinking. It's about applying the MCDS framework to understand how power really operates. You can check it out at 11demands.org, and let's work on making it happen. And if we click through the old 11 Demands, come on, browser, here we go. We got the 11 Demands website, and in there you can find the demands list that talks about all, what a better world looks like in terms of the list of demands. Number one is how we fix it in terms of the things you have to do, fixing that big money in politics and government. And also, as mentioned in that article, the MCDS framework for understanding how government really works and how we can fix it. So do check all that out at the old 11demands.org. There's also Substack articles that are also linked in this article and elsewhere. I'll hit the link to this article in the chat once again. So I just wanted to call that out tonight, as a connection to the theater of the State of the Union and about what can be real as opposed to doing that. But it's going to take a movement take those real demands, and it's going to take us figuring out how to organize around that and get literally millions of people together to demand these things and make something real happen. All right, super chats. We have got super chats in the queue. Let me see what we got in there, and some of these go back a little ways. Let's see. All right, we got clapping. Thanks, Tim Real Talk for the super chat. Who says clapping while funding a genocide. Thanks for the super chat, Shannon. Appreciate it. Who says love you, Sabby, free Palestine, and F ICE. Thanks for this one, Cougar Lady, who says, Sabby, I love you, but I cannot watch this. I'm going to see Uncle Joe on Netflix again. We'll wait for your commentary on Thursday. All right. And thanks for this one from Jewel in the Machine, who says, I'm taking a swig every like never before statement and pray for me. Yeah, you got some reliable Trump phrases in there in any of these. And thanks for this one from Diamond Encrusted Abdullah, who says, I am your God, Jesus Christ, Satan is God. All right. Thanks for checking in with that one. And thanks, Alan, who says, this is more like a pep talk for criminals. There you go. And thanks for the super chat, Naz, who says, more like State of the Clown Union. This is a clown show. Yeah, it's quite something. It's like there's no one really left who's really falling for this dog and pony show of the State of the Union anymore. It's even people who are invested in one side or the other, I think, realize that it's all just a show and a joke. But the show must go on, I guess. Thanks for the super chat, Big Ben. Sabby, you should watch from the C-SPAN feed. There's a lot going on in the audience that the AP is not showing. I think they just kicked out Al Green. All right, thanks for that. And thanks for this one, P. Walker. Congress stands with Jeffrey Epstein over and over again. I hear you, just like they did for Netanyahu when he comes through. And thanks for this one, Fly Away Forever, who says truck frump. And also thanks for this one as well. Sab Hexith gives Anthropic until Friday to back down. Okay. So he's saying Hegseth is giving Anthropic, the company, until Friday to back down on AI safeguards. We need to talk about this. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. And thanks for this one, DMC, who says, I bet it smelled like a Porta-John air in that room. And shout out to Rise With Me, who says, the tariffs were how we had planned to pay for the tax cuts, and now the companies are suing for their money back that they paid in tariffs. And one of the things that I would say these tariffs should be looked at is they're basically a backdoor sales tax on the 99%, because of course that is who actually ends up paying them. So it's basically a federal sales tax. So congratulations, Trump, you gave us a federal sales tax. And that's, exactly the kind of taxes that Trump and his billionaire friends love. The whole game, a big part of the whole game is to shift the tax burden to that 99%. And so the tariffs actually very effectively do that, because they give the companies excuses to raise prices and funnel that money, right back into tax money, aka federal sales tax. And thanks for the super chat, No Bowie, who says he better not mention Punch the Monkey. Okay. And thanks for this one, Kevin Wayne. Cato Institute 4-part series debunking Biden culpability for so-called border crisis. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing with the border is, I'll put it this way. Any any discussion, any person that's trying to get you to focus more on people who have no money and no power, migrants, and instead of focusing on people with all the power and all the money, the billionaires and the billionaire class and the mega corporations, if they're trying to get you focused on the wrong one of those, then you know who they're serving, and it's not the 99%. And shout out to Brandy Weaver, who's been a member for a good long time here, 31 months, who uses her special member chat to say the song "Hey There Delilah" by the Plain White Tees. Thank you. And Kevin, thanks for this from Kevin Wayne, who says, will voter ID be free and universal? Nope. Yeah, another good way to tax the 99% and along with the whole thing, right? Yep. And also shout out to Marlon Wells, who's been a member for a year here. And in his chat, he says, never seen a more petty presidential speech in my life. He's unaware that he works for all Americans. Will the real Robin Leach please stand up? There you go. Yeah, I mean, Trump is kind of the true face of the corrupt billionaire-run oligarchy, that our society is kind of running as. Then the next question, the next thing we have to go to is, what do we do about it? And it's going to be up to us to fix this mess. And so check out 11 Demands for, of course, for some ideas about that. And we got one more here in the queue, also from Kevin Wayne. Thanks for this one. Who would have thought that one day the head of a major Christian organization, quote unquote Christian, TPUSA, would turn out to be a closet lesbian? All right. I'll call that an interesting take, Kevin Wayne. And we got one here out in the Rumble queue. Let me see if I can make that magically appear here. I think we can do that. A little bit of resizing, and here we go. Thanks for the Rumble rant from T-Bone 316. He says that 100-year-old man was just taking a puff of a cigarette. I kid you not. Rewind it. At the same time, they celebrated that rescue worker, and Sabby mentioned the girl that's there. Trust me, Eric. All right, I'll trust you on that one, T-Bone. Let me just double check the queue here, but I think that's going to just about do us for tonight. Yeah, we are in good shape. So it was certainly an interesting show tonight. And yeah, what can you even say about all this? All I can say is keep focused on connecting the dots, the billionaire class, having clear demands. That'll lead you to what we need to do, and having clear principles. Keep checking us out here. Check out 11demands.org. We'll be you can catch Sabby next live in a couple days here on this channel at 8. It'll be 8 p.m. on Thursday. We will not have the State of the Union speech again. We'll see if she talks about it a little more, but we had more than enough. God, the dude's still talking now. He's calling out other people now. Is this thing even half over? Well, it's over for us, so that's going to do it for us here. But I want to thank everyone for watching and for your chats and for everything in there. And that's going to do us for tonight. But until next time, and we'll see you, we're going to say have a good night. Keep up the fight. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.